Wow. Hello, everybody.
Wow.
Meowdy, Consonia, and Haircut, thank you so much for the resub. Consonia, what do you want for your first before we start? Hmm? Hmm? Meow. A compliment, okay. Are you a real trooper for going through all the things with your school and stuff? And I know you can excel there because you're smart and lovely. And people realize that. Yeah. Thank Pat. Yes, of course. Sundart has been tardy and is still streaming.
Yes.
So this is of course I'm joking here, but my redeems should be off and they are not. So I would ask you to not misuse them because I'm not gonna honor any misuse redeems. There we go. Not that these are misuses, I'm just saying. I'm going to do an op run really quick. So yeah.
But it's a game that has 30-minute rounds. Yes, that's very
But the thing is, you think it's 30 minutes, but you forget that you have to pick the items. Like it takes more like 45 to 50 minutes per run. Well,
yep.
You can just run into an enemy if he wants to watch us, I guess. Anyway, so today, last time we talked, I said we were doing Mech Warrior, and we are doing Mech Warrior. However, since this is a game, like this is a second edition book and it is from, let's see, 1991, so it's not exactly current, we thought it would be a good idea to like compare and contrast it with a modern mech game and maybe see where this game in particular kind of goes wrong.
And it goes wrong pretty quickly, honestly.
It goes wrong in many places pretty quickly, yes. But there's something like, okay, at a base level, of course, this Mech Warrior Battletech role-playing game, the clue what this is in the name. Battletech, the tabletop war game, was first. And then people were like, hey, can't we have a game around like the mech fights we're having? And so this was made.
Yep.
Because obviously it's a cash cow to make a tabletop RPG if you're already having a tabletop playing audience that already paid for mechs. Might as well sell them a book about playing a character in this universe, which makes all kinds of sense.
Oh yeah.
But while I would say that the BattleTech game is pretty good. I played it tabletop for years. With rules that were, I think, I forget which edition. Like this is older than when I played, obviously, but I'm not sure how many editions there really were. I don't think the basic rules ever really changed for the BattleTech game.
Probably.
Yeah. But there's a few reasons why this is kind of an anchor around the neck of this game. We'll get to it. So again, art-wise, I can't fault this. I mean, okay, obviously someone loved this book, let's just say. Because it has clearly seen a lot of use. Also importantly to say, we are in the Farsa era of BattleTech. So this is also the owners of Shadowrun. And yeah. I do like this. There's a lot of character in the art here. Like this guy has 3 kills. He is targeting a vulture, which this is, and he's shooting its arm off. We don't see that part, but hey. I do like it. It is very law accurate to the setting. Someone drew the vulture well. Not all art of mechs in this game in this book is going to be amazing. So
no, not all of it is. You'll notice that there are artists in here that have done other work. There are a lot of artists in this era wound up doing things between multiple different studios, like between FASA and TSR specifically, because those were 2 of the large ones at the time.
Yes.
And some of them did also work for Pondsmith's company, which I suddenly forgot the name of, Talsorian.
Yes.
They also did work for Talsorian.
Yeah.
Which was different because in one way, Symbietta's company, he had his own in-house artists, which was made him different.
This is basically like in this era of sort of playing games. There were a few big ones, but this was still a tiny industry. And they kind of shared like these artists between them and stuff a lot of the time. Or not so much shared them as one artist. They would just employ the same people because that's who they knew. And that's who was willing to draw them whatever characters do running around with guns and stuff that you need for a game like this. But yeah. So what's in this book? We start with making characters, which is good. We start with having personal combat rules. These are going to be fun. And then there's a long section about running the game. And then a lot of stuff, and then a lot of background information. The background information, actually, if you look here, historical overview from page 105 to page 158, it's all background info. And then, so this is them already filling this book with some padding. Because this background info is very much available in other BattleTech books.
Yeah, very much so.
And this is obviously a nod to people maybe buying this first because they want to just play a Mech Warrior. But you're going to run into some problems if that's what your plan is. So I don't know why it's here, but we'll get to that anyway. So once we're done, we have a bunch of people who are Mech Warrior regulars for the most, like at least like the designer and development and stuff. These are Mech Warrior writers and BattleTech writers, and they are doing this. Maybe see what is this? I'm not sure what this is. Probably a Marauder Mark II shooting an Atlas in the face. Somehow it's on the floor, which makes no sense. It's a weird picture. So this takes place during the clan invasion era, they say, of the game, which it's the whole thing. BattleTech has, like, by volume, a lot of lore. Like, it's not as much as 40k, but they're getting there.
Yeah, like I would compare it to like if Firefly and the Expanse both had another layer on top of them of, hey, there's even more factions you need to think about.
Yeah. Like, BattleTech has always been the setting for people for whom Warhammer is a bit silly, who like their harder sci-fi, and then also don't like to spend as much money on miniatures.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you usually feel, oh yeah, I feel this one guy I play in every single match.
Yeah, it's one of those games where having like 4 or 5 miniatures of mechs is gonna be enough to play. Though the game kind of demands that you be what's so hard. But you have like the miniatures you want to field. Like, say it's the same as with Warhammer, where it's like, what, you don't have that tank? Well, you can't put it in your fucking thing. You can't just use your beer cozy for the tank. Even though technically, I mean, nothing's stopping you as long as you aren't playing tournament. But anyway, I'm telling you what's in the book here, and then, okay.
And I can give a quick little history, too, of why the second edition is so easy to find compared to the first edition. So there are multiple editions. First edition was 86, second edition 91, third edition was 99. They had a classic BattleTech RPG edition that FanPro put out in 2006, which that didn't sell well at all. FanPro didn't know what they were doing when they had this IP.
No, they did not.
And then they did a BattleTech: A Time of War in 2010 when Catalyst was at the helm, and then that was repeated in 2022. But then they did an alternative to this called Mech Warrior Destiny in 2020. And the success of that is kind of goes hand in hand with Shadowrun 6th Edition, because
Mm-hmm.
both were an attempt to make an alternative fast play BattleTech or BattleTech / Shadowrun RPGs. So they're in similar veins.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why the 2nd edition even exists is because of Shadowrun's popularity. Shadowrun was released
Yes.
like a year before that.
Mm-hmm.
Since that made money, they could do this.
Exactly. They realized they could make cash from role-playing games, so they had. So we have an IP about mechs. This make a game, but yeah, we'll see. So this is one of those cash grab games which we love. We'll see how that impacts everything. We start with a bit of a like character story here, where I'm going like where some guys running around. We don't usually read those. Like this is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone who never saw a mech before drawing it from description.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is supposed to be a Marauder or Marauder MK2, but it's so wrong.
It's so wrong.
Like, oh my god. Like, give me this. Actually, Mech Warrior Marauder. Like, I know my mechs because I play these games, right? Yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what was drawn. It's not great. Not great. And then I don't know what this is in the front line. It's just a bit of trouble, I guess. Anyway, a lot of the art is fine, but some of it's just not. As I said. Okay, how do we play this game then? Well, it's quite simple. You roll 2d6 and add them together and compare them to the target number. And that is going to be the whole thing. Sometimes you roll 3d6 and keep the highest 2, which tells you that you generally want to roll high. Which is fair enough. Obviously, our probability space is not super high here. Because, well, we have any number from 2 to 12 that we can roll. And most of them are going to be 7s and 8s and 6s. Because that's how this works. This is the same basic resolution mechanic as BattleTech has. Because, again, they were trying to like make it similar. But in the BattleTech game, it's specifically about, okay, I shoot my heavy assault rifle, no, my heavy AC-20 from 6 hexes away, meaning it's medium range, meaning I get a +2 to my shot, so I have to roll an 8. That works. In this, it ends up being very samey, and the DM is also allowed to arbitrarily, in quotation marks, assign pluses, minuses. -1 to 5, +1 to 5. Which, as we can see, +5, let's say, if we assume an average of 7 for our skills, so having a 50% chance to do it, +5 means we have a 1 in 36 chance to do it all of a sudden. Worse than rolling a crit on D20. So not great. There's not a lot of wiggle room here. So any minus or plus you get is very important. It's not per se bad, it's just like the probability space being small tends to be iffy. But it's not enough, it's that bad. Also, anytime you roll 2 or 12, it's a crit success or a crit fail. Meaning even if a difficulty of 5 and a base of 7, we can't even do it because the 12 is a crit fail. So, and yeah, and then there's margin of success, which is what you would think. If I need a 7 to roll a 4, my margin of success is 3, because 4 plus 3 is 7. And if the other person then only has a margin of 2, they lose against my roll. Like if I'm sneaking and they're trying to spot, they're like standing guard, whatever. Very simple. Like it is fake. It is quick, and the quick game.
It is pretty quick.
It's good. Yeah. Quick is a plus in my book, because I don't see it being a long problem to be like, okay, it's trying to sneak. It's dark out, so I'm giving the other people like a minus plus to the difficulty to see you, and then like they roll and then you sneak and then we just see what happens and it's like done in 30 seconds. That's pretty cool. That is good. So far, not terrible.
And honestly, this we've seen other 2D6 systems.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most popular 2D6 systems today is Powered by the Apocalypse. This is a better way to do 2D6 than Powered by the Apocalypse because there's a lot of definites to it. Whereas
True.
Powered by the Apocalypse, well, if you basically get hurt almost all the time, why am I doing this?
Yes. Yeah, okay. Opposed skills are just explained already. It works the exact same. Whoever has the better margin wins. If you don't have a skill, you roll 3d6 and keep the 2 lower dice. So if you're untrained in shooting an artillery piece, you can still do it, but you're having half disadvantage. Not sure what this means for like probability space, but I would assume it's like a -1 or something, or -2.
Yeah,
It's between those low numbers. I'm not sure.
It's somewhere there. Yeah.
Because you make it very unlikely to have the highest rolls, but you don't make it very unlikely to have medium to low, like medium rolls. It's not that less likely, honestly. It is fine. Again, it's okay. This works. This is impactful. And then saving throws are come into play. This is a game in the era of D&D, so they would just have these sometimes. Also makes sense. These are rolled with 3d6 and you keep the highest 2 at all times.
And by the way, it's effectively a +2 or -2.
Okay, 2. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Game master, sensible dice. Okay. By the way, I could not find a better scan of this book. It is like this, sadly. It's gonna be a bit worse in the boxes they made, the example boxes, as time goes on. But that's fine, because it's only the examples that are affected usually. The game is kind of iffy. Like, okay, you need saving rolls when you're trying to resist something.
Yep.
But the game is kind of open about what that can mean a little bit. But whatever. Oh yeah, and they also tell you if you're in these cases, if you have the advantage, you 2 6s and a 1 means you still have a crit. No, sorry. 2 6s and a 1 means you don't have a crit fail, a crit success. No, it does, and disadvantage would. Blah blah. I'm rambling. No, basically, it comes into play if you have advantage or disadvantage, what you have to roll in order to get one, and it works like you think. And then there's the last thing, edge, taken straight from Shadowrun, which
Straight
is
from it.
Exactly what you think. It is a reroll. You have an edge amount, and you get a free reroll when you spend one. And then now that's all. That is the dice rolls. And honestly, just these dice rolls I'd play with a simple game, because these work. Again, probability space is a little bit limited, which means this leads to some issues. Like, for example, in D&D, let's say, since I roll a d20, if I have a +7 or +8, tends to be less important than my d20. Because if I roll a 7 +8 or 7 +7, kind of the same thing in the end almost. But in here, if I roll 2d6 and they are like 1 apart, it is usually the difference between fail and success. And also, like, if you then have a skill or an attribute you can raise that will increase this, it means a big increase. Like, you always open this. Is this the one? No. This is simple enough. Yeah,
Yeah, it's good enough.
Like if I have 6, okay. If I have 7 in a skill and I raise it to 8, I gain 13.88% success chance.
Yep.
Though you might have noticed that like we're rolling high, so kind of how are we doing this? How is this working? And now we're getting to kind of the dummy shit in this, because I was kind of lying when I said it was a simple system. Because they managed to make this very simple resolution mechanic kind of dumb, stupid. Dumb. Because you get attributes first, which range for normal human from technically from 1 to 6. I don't think anyone usually has 1 in anything.
Yep. Again, like Shadowrun.
Yes. And you these are built, as in how built are you? Reflex, your dexterity, coordination, overall agility, intuition, your perception, instinct, and ability to think under pressure, and your learn, measure self-discipline, and the ability to understand complex concepts. These are your attributes.
And charisma, which is on the next column.
Oh yeah, right. And charisma is the 5th one, which you would, these all work like you think. And they, again, range from 1 to 6. And they go up. So how do we roll high on these if more attribute is bad? Do we have to have low attribute? No, we don't. Because how it works is, from these attributes, we are going to derive characteristics. And how do we do that? Well, we'll see, but you have 5 of these. Athletic, physical, mental, social. These are 4 characteristics you might have noticed. So we derive these 4 from 5 attributes which will never come up again. Basically. The only time attributes will come up is if the DM tells you because of your injury you lose a point of something.
Yep.
Or if maybe the DM is like, okay, you get your point back because your injury is no longer a problem. PF2 is getting rid of exactly Waggles. So, and then, okay, this is for now, it's explanation. We're getting into the weeds in a second. Then the game does have advantages, not very many, but it does have them, which you can take for, well, advantages. This is wildcard stuff as usual. And you have skills, these work as you would think, and you have a battle mech. Just like what? Well, so part of your character creation is deciding, do I have my own mech or not? If you don't, you will have to pilot whatever is like in the garage when you open it.
Yes.
Which sounds like a negative, but it's also kind of the dumbest part of this character creation. I'll talk about it later. I just want to explain everything quickly first. You also buy some personal equipment, which is not your mech. It is like your clothing and toolkits and guns and shit. And you have assets, which is, to start, is some money. But later on you can like control land and like amass pretty big amounts of wealth. But that would fall under assets. To start, you don't have that. And finally you have edge, which we already explained. So now, how we regenerate a character? Well, we could pick an archetype. They put a bunch of sample characters in. Well, Kate, thank you for the raid.
Thank you for the raid. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, hi raiders. Woo! We're doing Mech Warrior versus Lancer, and you haven't talked about Lancer at all yet, which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Talking about Lancer soon enough. I want to get this mechanics explanation out the way, because then, yeah. Yeah, cool. Shiro, hey, thank you for the resub.
Shiro.
Okay, we can have archetypes. We can also modify them according to some rules. Which, if we scroll down, there's going to be a bunch of sample characters. We'll look at them because a lot of this stuff is explained via sample characters pretty well.
I have a comment on the guy that's there, the man.
Oh, yeah, look at him.
So this looks like this was art for Continuum for like a mirror universe section,
Yeah.
not continuum. What's the game? Prime Directive. And then they just changed the ornamentation on his little vest.
Yes.
Because he looks like he's from the mirror universe in Star Trek.
He has like the the Wolf's Dragoons thing here, I think. Where is he? Clan Wolf? I think it's Wolf's Dragoons. It doesn't really matter because it's only role-playing books where you get like guys standing with wrench as like you get paid to draw that.
Funny.
Like, and again, no shade on this artist. This art is cool. It looks good. Like, I can never draw in monochrome. Like, I just can't. But yeah, this is certainly art for a Mech Warrior game, because the thing you run into with this is that it's very much one thing only. So, and the last one is we can create new characters, which is creating a new archetype, which is kind of misnomer because you just make a character. How do we do this? Well, we assign priorities, which is also a very Shadowrun thing.
Yup.
Because older Shadowrun books, at least, if not most new ones as well, always have the ability to, like, I would like to have 5 priorities, A, B, C, D, E, and I assign them to like 5 categories of race, wealth, attribute, skills, and what's the 5th one?
Magic,
right? And that ends up being like, the more, if I put category A in my attributes, I get the most points for attributes. If I put an E in race, I can only be a human, because being an elf or dwarf, it's like a D or something. And so it works. It's quick. It tends to not be very well balanced against any other way to make a character, at least in Shadowrun. But in this case, it's fine because we don't get another way to make a character, except to modify existing archetype, which could be better. I didn't do the math there. Didn't really care enough. But anyway, so you should first come up with a concept for your character, and then assign priorities. And the hook is like something that happened to them that they would want to do in their personal lives. And then they have like a quick explanation here about how you do it. It's very quick. Again, you see here, we already like here's like already your first trap. If you hadn't seen it before, because why would I ever put in, like, if I want to play a normal inner sphere human guy, because everybody who is a special guy is a clan guy. I can gimp myself by putting a 1 in human instead of a 0. Why would I ever do it? There's no reason. Like that's the kind of stuff I mean with problems for this. So what it also means is that an elemental cannot have 30 attribute points, because you need to pick priority 4 to be 1. So elemental, that's like a super soldier guy from the clans. And then you can also pick a battle mech if you pick anything. And this is the reason, technically, why there's one category here. Because if I really want to be a dispossessed metal mech pilot who doesn't have a mech, I have to put priority 0 in this. Otherwise, I have a light mech. So I've been talking a lot. Trek, do you have any insights or input on this so far?
So far, you hit on exactly why priority systems, like, they don't only just suck, they just make you feel like you're not actually prioritizing a character. It feels instead like, well, if I'm an elemental, I can't be good at anything else. I have to just be good at being an elemental, which that doesn't feel good. It just never feels good. There are other things here too, like, at this point, I'm just like, okay, 30 attribute points. What does this really mean for me, though? Because I have 5 attributes. Does that mean that I have a 6 in every attribute, then?
That means you have a 5 in every attribute, right? No, 6.
I thought there were 5 attributes.
Yeah, right, you're right. It would be a 6, yeah.
So, like, if I pick that, then I'm, like, already a superhuman. So why would I pick elemental? You get where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
It's just a little.
Also, notice that the least you can have is 18 in attributes.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, but you want the 30 because these can't change later. You cannot raise them. There's no mechanic that will allow you to raise an attribute. You can only raise skills and maybe advantages if it makes sense. But I don't think even advantages can be bought after character creation. I'm not sure. I'd have to look in the section. My biggest issue with this is that the mech should probably not be part of your character creation. Because why is a guy who owns a heavy mech, like an assault mech, which is 70, that's with 80 to 100 ton mech, why is that guy worse at everything than a guy who owns no mech?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, the logic of it is just, it's terrible. It's
Yes.
terrible. That's why, like, build point systems, like the one in Shadowrun 4th edition, I like a lot. They actually, actually work together. Or systems that take away priorities completely and then force you to prioritize in other ways. But, this is not a game where they're going to do that because they want to have the fantasy of, but I took priority 3. I have a heavy metal mech.
Yeah. I think
that's not really a fantasy for me, but it is for some apparently.
I think the reason you couldn't really do point buy here, or like just a shuffle point system, is because this is not really complex enough as a system to make interesting characters. This will make a more interesting character point wise than if you even allow slight min maxing. Because this game only needs the slightest hint of min-maxing to make cookie cutter characters.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Which is an issue. So, so we assign attribute points. You assign them as you would think. A 7+, we can only get that if we become clan people and get a bonus in it. So, you're right. If we manage priority 4 in attributes, we are just going to have 6s everywhere. We are remarkably built, reflexive, learned, charismatic, and they forgot to enter as a final value equal to half and assigned to it. Oh! Looky here. I read over this last time. So your intelligence actually eats more points than you think. So that's how they don't have 6s everywhere.
Okay.
Because if you have to, like, if you want high intellect, you have to assign more. That's curious because I would think intellect isn't super important for most characters.
Well, it's not even intellect; it's intuition, which is even really funny.
Intuition, right? It's not intellect. I hate systems that do this. I think this is like this and reflexes are your combat thing. So I get why they would make it more expensive, but I would have said reflexes is more important. But regardless. So we assign these points, and then intuition is the best choice by far as skills are concerned, as it figures into 3 of the characteristics. Reflex is the second best for skills because it figures into 2 characteristics, but it's also used to determine a character's initiative during combat. Okay. Like, thank you for telling me your game isn't very balanced. But I could already tell that I wouldn't really need charisma to pilot a mech. It is pretty clear. Like, if you are just here to make a cool guy who pilots a mech, you don't need as much charisma. You probably don't need a ton of build either. Like, a mech pilot isn't a hunk of meat. No. You are in a fucking monster machine. You don't have to have big beefy build. It's not going to do anything. So it's not really a problem getting ref int up and learn again. Okay. So right now I would say anyone who pilots the mech is going to have 6s in ref and intuition and then be cool. But anyway.
Yep. There's no role of a seduced mech in this game.
Yeah.
So.
Like, Minimum values. 5 centuries of macro history show that most successful macros are good reflex and intuition and a reasonably robust build. Therefore, no inner sphere or secondary clan mech warrior may have reflexes or intuition lower than 4. Okay. Primary clan mech warriors must have reflex and intuition no lower than 5. So they already also demand that you just put most of your points into these.
Which, why didn't you just have a system where, okay, this is what you get, and then you can distribute 5 points wherever you want?
Yeah.
Because that's basically what you're doing. Because this is cookie cutter as hell, and if you want to disrupt the cookie cutter, start with the cookie cutter, and then say, okay, you can vary it slightly.
The issue here is that they really just needed that 2d6 system to make to work, and so they're shoehorning everything around that to make it play remarkably similar to the mech game for no reason. For no reason other than that they wanted that. It's a bad decision. And we're going to see more and more why that is. And here we have the ratios, like Glenn McRoy gets ref and intuition +1. So does that mean I need to take 5 in it so I get to 6 automatically? No, probably not. But also, the game doesn't really say. And Elemental gets 2 build, 1 reflex, -1 charisma, and toughness. So that's kind of, you're actually at 29 points if you take the B attribute thing, whatever. Here we see the maximums. Thunder, thank you for the raid too. Hi.
Hello.
Woo.
Wow.
Did you win your vampy thingy?
Did you win the Vampire Survivors?
Yeah.
Did you survive the vampires?
I'm just going to very quickly reiterate what this is. So what we have. 2d6 system, roll high, good. Samurai 1998, thank you for the follow. 2d6 system, high rolls, good. Priority build system to make characters with. 5 attributes, one of them costs double. It is not great, but well, there we go. And then next we costs do not change over the course of play. You must may however modify them as a result of excellence or other event during campaign, or they may increase as a result of experience. This is just so DM Fiat tells you might get something. And late because Rage level 31 Mech Factory of Glory and Devolved Lancet. Good job. You can buy advantages, we get to them. It's curious that they wouldn't be here where you say we can buy them, but okay. And then there's skills. You buy skill levels and each level costs its level to get. So the cumulative cost is this. If we scroll up to the skill amount, the most we can ever have in skills is 24. Meaning, if you look at this, it's pretty clear we won't have that many skills.
No, and you won't max the skill like for a long time.
You won't max anything to start, for sure, unless you take literally nothing else. I think there's also a maximum at skill start, I believe. Skill restrictions. Starting character can buy no more any skill at level and then the character's learn attribute. That's not really, as we learned, that's not much of a restriction, except that you will dump your learn because you don't really need it. The character of learn 4 can have no skill level higher than 4. So this is basically just means get learn or exactly as high as you want your highest skill to be. Probably 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4 sounds right.
Yeah. And then there's skill packages, which give you, for a cost of X points, many skills, and it's probably worth it to get them if you can.
Yeah, honestly. I didn't do the math for any of this, but it just seems like it's just right, honestly.
I mean, since they all cost the same, this is going to be already 10 points, 11, 17, 18, 20, 22 versus 16. Yeah, it's very worth it. Like, it's all going to be like this. Skill packages always tends to mean, you get more than you put in. So, Skill packages is fine, but cookie cutter. But most of these are for clan people only, which is dumb.
Yeah. And then they have academy packages, which one?
Yeah. You can be at the academy, you can be at the university package, you can have. That's it, actually. So this primary clan warrior, wasn't there like, no, these are all only for clans. So that is the main thing. Like if we now want to min-max, if I have to be a clan pilot, right? Clan warrior isn't allowed to have pilot. Oh no, pilot is different. So want to be a primary warrior, is that its own thing or is it just warrior? So pick clan warrior priority 2. And then pick 4 for skills.
Yeah.
Because then you pay this package for 20 points and you have 4 points left to buy something else with, like crisp or something.
And going back to what I said before, it feels almost like this system should have just been that way to start. Yeah. You pick cookie cutter package. There are 10 packages, and then from those packages, pick 4 more skill points.
Yep.
To assign or whatever.
It
feels like that's the way the game should be played.
Yes.
And that's fine if that's the game that they want to play. That's not a game I want to play, but if that's the game they want to design, that would be a better design.
Yeah, but my issue here is, where's my skill package for the fucking Inner Sphere Mech Warrior? Like, why are they, like, they clearly would also at least have like a Mech Warrior school where you go to Mech Warrior's gym to get Mech Warrior Swole, and then you can be like a Mech Warrior with basic skills that look kind of like this but less good. Like, what? Why isn't this the thing? Why is in like clan? The writers of BattleTech always had a bit of a hard on for the clans and their eugenic bullshit, but the clans ate shit, and god damn it. That's the point. The point is that the Inner Sphere wins because there are many, and the clans with all of their fancy tech and cool tech gizmos lose because they don't have enough stuff.
Yeah. And there's also like, isn't there also the aspect of, despite having their cool tech and their cool whatevers, they just don't have the brain capacity or the brain direction to be truly creative in a way that the inners can be.
They're super indoctrinated and like raw honor guys, the pilots, all of them, at least in like they learn their lesson eventually. About these things.
Takes a while.
But they like it is a classic problem of, okay, these people have been isolated for hundreds of years and been playing at war. And so they have invented all of these rules to play at war more effectively. And then they attack a society that has just been at war for those hundreds of years. And sure, that society has worse technology, but they also have all the underhanded tactics and all the knowledge and all the shit to immediately exploit the shit out of their stuff and like get them. Like they only had the clans had one shot to do it, and they blew it on their honor. And that's the story of the clans. And now it's just a slow death for them, basically, in the setting.
Oh man, like now that like I have like this full perspective, I'm just like, these people must have been really big fans of Ringworld.
Oh yeah,
because that's the exact story of humans meeting Xin. Xin had the tech, but they also had this honorable way of fighting. And then humans were like, "Fuck that! We're gonna just turn our ship around and atomize you with our drive beam."
Yep, that's a good story. Where the telepath is like, no, they all know they don't have weapons. They're not lying. But how did they destroy the ship then? Well, unlike us who have reactionless drives, they kind of use big lasers to power their ships to shoot them forward, and those lasers are very powerful.
Anyway, pardon the tangent. Like, I just realized, yeah, that's one of the reasons why like all this hangs together as a hard science fiction setting, is because they did read stuff like that. It's very clear.
Yes. Also, I will
But
say,
as a role-playing game,
purely in terms of like the writing of BattleTech, I like BattleTech. I can't really read like books in it that often because it is always about the Mech Stoppy Zomp. And
yeah,
that is cool, but it gets kind of old, you know? It's much like reading Warhammer books. You can read a Warhammer book and be entertained, but then if you read another one, you realize, wait, this is just the same thing again. And then you eventually stop buying those. Yeah. So let's blah blah, a bunch of skills. Advanced individual. Oh yeah, you can. Oh, Inner Sphere does get like some sort of package, which is like a complex thing. Okay, I misspoke there, but it's annoying to read, so I didn't really look at this. Yeah, pick stuff. I guess I don't care.
yes, exactly.
And then there's the most important thing. I have to find this exact sentence where it says to pick your mech, because, or is that with the tables and I didn't see it? Which is equipment, determine battle mech. For many, this last step is the most important. Most mech warriors will have made that decision long before they get this far into a creation process. A character who has assigned priority bonus to battle mech column, the battle mech column, is entitled to start the game with a personal mech. The player may choose the mech personally, or the Game Master may use table on page 20 to determine mech assignment randomly. The Game Master may decide that all characters who have mechs must roll dice against these tables if players consistently choose the same mech or mechs in the top of their weight class. What are they talking about? Well, simply put, we can roll 2d6 and then refer to the list to see what we have. Or we can pick. Why is picking potentially bad? Well, let's give an example. The Mora 2, the Atlas, those are 100-ton mechs. They're the biggest mechs. The Awesome is an 80-ton mech. Battlemaster, I believe. No, Battlemaster, I forgot. Point is, the bigger the mech, the more weapons fit on it. And for a lot of people, that's what matters.
Yep.
It can be kind of the opposite in the light mech category, where having the smallest possible mech is probably better than having an urban mech, because urban mech is kind of a joke. But the point is, mechs, since this is a setting that is supposed to be like a real war setting, not all of these mechs are winners. Like there's the, is it the Black Knight? I forget. I don't remember all the names because there's so many of these mechs. There's a particular mech they made as like an assault scout, which is a mech that's super big but very but for its weight fast. And there's shitty weapons on it, like 6 light lasers or something, and that's it. Where other mechs in the category would have a big autocannon and several bigger lasers and a missile rack. And then that mech was just mass produced because it was back in the day of the Star League when they had a peacetime and didn't know how to make good war machines, thusly, and were printing money off of it because it was all military graft, basically. And then you had tons of these mechs, so they got used in fights because, well, we have them. It's better than having no mech. So, that's the story there. But you wouldn't want to pilot one in this game if you don't have to. So there's also like you like missiles, so you want to catapult as you have a mech as opposed to a Thunderbolt or a Jaeger mech or whatever. And then it says, yeah, but again, the heavy mech is between 55 and 75 tons. So there's again a big difference here. And that's again a problem with the put points in it to decide what weight category it is. It should have been pay points according to the tonnage of the mech you want. Or even better, hear me out here, maybe the team builds actual like lands together, because you don't want 4 assault mechs in your lands. You want a scout, You want an assault mech or two, and then you want a medium to heavy mech to like help the assaults out, basically. Maybe you have 300 points to buy your mechs between everybody or something. I don't know. But it's certainly not great that technically everybody can just be like, yeah, don't put any category in mech. I'm dispossessed. We're all dispossessed. What mechs do we get? Mm-hmm. And that's technically the better decision, because then eventually you're gonna just loot one. Who's gonna stop? Yeah. Who's gonna stop you? Eventually you're gonna get lucky and steal one or something. Why would I ever put points into it? Like, we're gonna have a game regardless, and it's gonna be funny one time to be like, yeah, you get the urban mech, haha. But then if no one puts points in it, then everybody either gets the urban mech and it's a joke, or the DM makes up a reason why everyone gets mechs that can do the mission anyway. Like, it's a useless category. It's not part of the character. It's an item they own. And unlike Shadowrun, where you have essence that you lose for cyberware you put in your body, that's very personal. But no one I hate it. I just hate it.
I hate it too. Like, this whole table could be easily redone. Just take the priorities 1 through 4, have it for race through advantages, get rid of the battle mech, get rid of the priority 0, and then you have suddenly a better game.
Yeah.
Then even if you take priority 1 for advantages, you still get 1 point in advantages.
Yeah, why not?
Because that's part of what makes it an interesting character then.
Yeah. Or you maybe do 0, 1 to 4, so that the 4 category is actually like an advantage. Like, you could actually do 18, 21, 24, 30, so that there's a reason to put 4 into something other than attributes.
Yep.
Actually, in that case, it would be bad to do, because attributes as an example. But the 4 should maybe be your best, your standout thing, and not just one more of each. Like, it's a situation that has nothing. And again, in metagaming terms, we are playing a game about fucking battle mechs. Obviously, we're going to have some.
Yeah.
Like, what's the idea here? Like, why? Why would we not have some? And it's so dumb that, like, it makes your character just worse to have a bigger war machine. Did they get complacent at school because they had the mech at home? What the fuck? Like, no, like, does not make sense. And then we have here the advantages, which are not very many.
No, it's just not
like ambidex, which is, you always have to have ambidextrous in any game, because some nerd will demand to have it. That nerd is sometimes me. Exceptional attribute gives you an extra point to allow one of your things to be at 7, but you'd have to raise it anyway. Which that I see potential there, obviously, because that can mean you have a 7 in piloting and in reflex or something.
Oh yeah.
Extra edge kind of works the same. Oh no, you just get 1 more in that case. Okay. Land grant, yeah, you have land start. This is neither here nor there. We're gonna get into that later. Natural aptitude, you.
Sorry.
What?
It just makes me laugh, because we got things like Sixth Sense, Extra Edge, Natural Aptitude, Land Grant.
Yeah. Like,
you're so out of place.
It only costs 1 point. It is clearly a stupid choice.
Yes.
Because it's not going to come up very much. We are going to be in interstellar battle arenas, fighting with more giant robots. I don't care if I have a farm. and also, if I already have land, I'm gonna care less if after a grueling campaign they are like, oh, by the way, your mech, you get your own island here over there. It's just your staging ground for your mercenary company now or something. Because I already have land. We could do that over where I live. Like, no, it's stupid to put it here. But since one of the main things you can give someone, like, let's go the opposite direction here. The whole point of most battle mech games is to eventually be in the assault mech and be big stompy robot man. If you have a team who all go like, assault mech, we're being an atlas, we're being the Steiner Scout Squad, everyone is a 100-ton mech, we're all stomping around. there's very little you can give your players at that point in terms of stuff. Because that's like having the +5 sword of Flaming Doom and your +3 plate mail at the start of the game. Makes it even worse that Battle Mech is a category here.
Mm-hmm.
Like no game on a computer has ever given you just the ability to have, I should say story-based game. The pure fighting games have given you the ability to just have on a sword mech. But any story game is like, oh yeah, we can't give you, like, you start with this shitty, maybe medium mech if we are nice. Or or in the BattleTech, like, story games, you tend to be in, you have the scouting duty at first and have to work your way up to better jobs. Stuff like that. It just makes for a good arc for that, an obvious arc. And the people are going to be happy if you're like, well, you used to have a Wasp, but now you have a Phoenix Hawk. It's oh, nice. It's like a twice as big mech. Awesome. How many more guns can I stuff into that now? As opposed to, again, like just having it. It's not great.
No, it's really not great.
Yeah. Sixth Sense. Title is much the same. I can be a Baron. Who fucking cares? But this is honorary title, bestowing only social status unless the character also has the land grant advantage.
Wow. Just
so dumb.
Imagine if you're that guy at the table that just like, I'm going to take title and land grant and wealth.
Yeah.
And everybody else is just,
like, okay,
this guy.
I kind of like that guy at my table, to be honest. He's like playing a snooty rich guy who can't pilot his mech well. Like, but the game does not give you any mechanical reason to want to be that character.
Yep,
this
exactly.
is all about being the best mech pilot you can be. It's not about making a character freely. Toughness gives you better resistance to damage. Wealth, yeah, also like what you would expect. You have some starting money. Well equipped, you have some specific cool starting equipment. And then here's master skill list. And it is a lot.
Yeah.
Skills per characteristic. Like, this is too many skills. You don't give us very many points here. The most we can have is 24 points. If I just put one in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So the best guy ever, who has the most skill points you can have, will have maybe a third of all the skills.
Yeah, maybe a third.
Oh no, actually a half. No, these repeat. And then there's like completely baffling skills in this, like archery.
Yeah, archery.
Like I get blade because I might fight with a blade at some point. But archery, really?
Archery is just what?
Drive for smaller. This is all actually useful, but then you get to like mental where it's like, oh yeah, appraisal. I think this battle mech is vintage. I think it is worth 10% more. No, who cares? You're not gonna need appraisal very much in this.
No.
And then there's also career skills and the and stuff. There's some things that are freeformer. Like there's they have the academic skills, because those are like freeform, I think.
Let's see here. Doesn't that fall under career skills? It's either that or special interests or technician.
Yeah, true.
Like those are three different ways to say the same thing, honestly.
Yeah. It's also gunnery and piloting are also specific to stuff. It's not just a global skill. Piloting specifically like airplanes and stuff.
I like that smug Venture Brothers character there.
This guy I like. This guy is a 10 out of 10 character.
That's the guy who took land grant and wealth and title.
Yeah. Oh, Volkswagen is true. They have special interest skills. It's for Tismas. Oh no. Oh god.
Max out special interests.
Yeah. Like again, like there's not that much fat here, but there's so sure some. Like this guy's forgery, gambling, and stuff like you could put this under like a larceny skill and just done with it. Like, are you really gonna play a guy who's really good disguising and forging, but not at gambling. Yes, because you don't have points, but you don't want to. You prefer to have these all. And then again, for the game, they desperately want you to have. A lot of these skills are just mandatory. Like, you have to have the mech pilot skill. You have to have gunnery. You have to have like some of the other skills. It is just what it is. Makes no sense why your military trained guy wouldn't be able to shoot a normal gun as well. So you have to have gunnery, and unarmed combat or something. Like, it's just a lot of these choices are to make a character that makes sense in the world are set in stone anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Into a stinky game, kind of true, so not yeah. I like this guy too. like again, some of the art in this is really good. I love this because like, oh no, this isn't working as I wanted it to.
There's so much personality in that and the prior picture.
Yeah. Then this the acrobatics picture, I guess. Then they explain the skills, which we can gloss over that. I think most of these are self-explanatory. Look at this punk. Look at this Shadowrun-esque punk.
Yeah. Look at him.
There's that tight shirt.
The muscles. Look at his little baby hand.
Yeah, yes. That can't be his hand. There's someone else's hand, right? Like
Is this like a stealth picture?
Is there someone else here reaching for his dick? I don't know. But if that's his hand, it's really, really a baby hand.
His other hand is kind of small too.
Yeah,
like...
I don't know. It's a mech game, son, not you missed stuff. Okay, now we see sample characters. We never really... These characteristics are derived, right? We glossed over that.
Yeah,
there is a very simple thing that tells you what to do there. Here. Athletics is 18 minus build plus reflexes. Physical is 18 minus reflexes plus intuition. Mental is 18 intuition and learn. Social is 18 intuition plus charisma. And now here we can see build pops up once. Learn charisma pop up once. Reflexes pop up twice. Intuition pops up more often, which is why it's more costly. So this game also does the thing when basically for the D&D does, where it's like, I have a 17 strength, that's a +3. We're gonna roll on that. Which no. but because you could write these out. Your strength is actually not 18, it is 18 number minus 10 divided by 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
it's
always bad to do that, to do derivatives of something easy. Why aren't we just raising these 4 categories?
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, these categories, if we look at skills again, athletics, physical, mental, social, they inform our role, what we roll against. So the whole attribute kerfuffle could have just gotten away. They could have just thrown that in the garbage, had these 4, and buy them individually.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of making us buy intuition at triple cost. Reflex is not double cost. Sorry, reflex is not double cost, but you should definitely invest because it is twice as good as getting built. And learn is garbage. Like you just own mental. Yeah, great. Even if I don't have learn, I'll have intuition high because it's so good. So such a basic thing to get right. Again, I hate it. Because now we get to this. Because like sample characters, right? Let's go here. Page down. Okay. We have Mech Warrior Bounty Hunter. She has a heavy mech, by the way. Athletics is 8 plus. So on 2d6 we have to roll an 8 on a basic athletics to make it. However, since skills. Also, identity is apparently a skill. That's interesting. So, but we have blades at 2. So we subtract 2 from 8 to arrive at 6 plus. Gunnery is at 3. This is a physical skill. So we subtract 3 from 7 to arrive at 4 plus. So on and so forth. That's our actual target numbers, unless they get modified by situational stuff. And then here's some items, and here's a heavy mech. If she hadn't had a heavy mech, she could have had more attributes.
Yep.
Whatever.
You could have been better, but you decided to make that choice.
Yep. And then we have the grizzled veteran who has a medium mech. They all look kind of the same. Like, you always derive. And why would the grizzled veteran have like a 4 reflex? That's terrible build. Like, his intuition is high. That's good, I guess. The hotshot has less charisma than the grizzled veteran. Like, look at these two people. Like, clearly I know who I like more. But yeah, this is like your builds. Basically, house regular, heavy mech, blah blah blah. Always looks kind of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this guy is exceptional build. Which, why would you buy that? Buy exceptional reflexes. It's such an obvious thing to get exceptional reflex or exceptional intuition if you can. Because why? Yeah, you are strong, cool. I don't care. Also, I really don't want. Why do you have medtech skill at 1? You are the worst medtech ever. 10 plus. Yeah. Just an excuse to kill someone. That's rolling 2 5s and 2d6. I guess you had situational bonuses if you have like a medicine bay, but whatever. Like, scoundrel. Ooh, he doesn't have a battle mech, so he's probably the best guy. Yeah, he is. Very good.
Look at those stats. Look at his social, especially. Damn.
Yeah. Like, he is just, again, like, don't have a mech, be a better person. It's the real
that's like the green way to go.
Yeah. And if that's not the worst lesson to derive from a game about mech combat, I don't know what it is.
Oh, there she is. Yeah, she has a title,
woman.
She has land grant, she has wealth, and she's well equipped.
Yeah.
There she is. Yeah.
And she has stats fucking suck.
Actually, they're not that bad.
Yeah, but they're comparatively bad.
Yeah, compared to especially the next person.
Yeah.
Who is like 7 plus, 6 plus, 7 plus, 7 plus.
Oh yeah, that's a clan warrior. Gunnery on 2 plus.
You
always hit. You always hit. This is also a problem, which I shouldn't really have to explain, right? It's bad in your system if you're starting characters like, well, I don't have to roll this attack. What do you mean? But unless I roll double 6s, I just hit. Always. Unless there's extenuating circumstances, which, okay, usually there are some of those, especially for gunnery in a mech. However, the base attribute saying you can't miss is bad. It's boring. It's like, it's as if you were, you're playing a blade saint in D&D. Well, that just means you always hit with your sword.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mean I have a high plus? No, it means you always hit.
And the thing is, if they have a penalty, they got extra edge. So
Sandat, you roll high, your goal is to roll high on 2d6. So it's the basic thing. If you don't have an athletic skill, a 7 plus will do it on 2d6, which is exactly 50%. However, this person since gunnery is a physical skill, if we didn't have it, this person would do it on 6 plus, so 2 3s, which is slightly, that's like, what is that, 67%? Yeah. However, they subtract 4 additionals from their 2d6 to arrive at 2 plus, which is the lowest number you can roll on 2d6. Like, why? What the fuck? Also, that's the funny thing. None of the clan pilots have their own mech. Because clan pilots get assigned their mechs by the clan. So that's their double better. Also, the game doesn't really tell you how you're supposed to play a clan pilot and a normal pilot together because they are supposed to be enemies.
Mm-hmm.
What the hacking fuck? Secondary guy is kind of the same again. Slightly worse. Elemental guy or girl possibly, because they all look like Adonises, is aesthetic 4+. It's crazy.
Damn, look at all that.
Unarmed combat at 2+. Like, if you get your attributes right, you don't even need high skill anymore to have a 2+. Like, could they just have a 1+? Question mark?
You could.
Also, I want to do something and say, here's the pilot. Pilots are genetically engineered, which is why they look like grays. They're smaller, and they have like crazy attributes. And yeah, you can have
really big eyes.
You can have a 1+ in something, which is also funny. And Aerojog is the inner sphere version of having a fighter jet. And then,
even then, even though they're quote unquote supposed to be inferior, 3+ for gunnery aerospace.
Yep.
3+.
Yep.
Like, it's still super freaking good.
Yep. But they need the higher skills to get it. But like ultimately, since this is the Mech game, right? What skills do you need? You need gunnery and you need piloting. There you are. That's kind of it. If you have those super high, the rest is all of it is just graft. All of it is just for fun. And you can also just be a free trader. And now we get to the really stupid characters. We get to it later. Scout is just like basically a spy guy.
What did you have a 4+ in?
What?
Scout. What did the Scout have a 4+1? 4+ in?
Perception. Small arms.
Perception.
Techie.
Oh, wow.
Attack. Okay, why do I say these are stupid? Well, these are all stupid because they don't partake in the main thrust of the game.
Mm-hmm.
These are all stupid because you don't have a mech and you can't pilot one.
Mm-hmm.
So half the time you're just not playing the game. More than half. Easily more than half. I also want to just go through this and ask a simple question. Hey, Drake, how many of these guys do you think need their learning 6?
Like,
how many of these characters?
None of them, because the highest skill you can get to is 4.
Yeah, but how many of these characters are purposely built wrong in that they have learning higher than they need? This person has it wrong.
All of the ones that have learning of 6.
This person has it wrong. This person has it correct.
Yeah, that one's correct.
They went to school as much as they needed to be very good at piloting a plane. But shooting a plane gun. I'm sorry. This guy learning 5 didn't need learning 5. Could have just skipped school last year. It's fine.
And the other half of mental is intuition anyway. So
didn't need that either.
No. Only learning 3.
Yeah, mental is intuition. Yeah, you could have just take that 1 point, put it. I guess in this case, there isn't really anywhere to put it. Charisma, okay, who cares? Might as well be learning. But the other guys, this guy could have had 1 more build and be a swole alien-looking motherfucker. This person, the secondary mech warrior, doesn't need learning 5. This person, the primary, doesn't need learning 5. This person, arguably the person I would understand if they had high learning, doesn't actually have that high learning and also does not need it. This person 5 definitely doesn't need it. This person 5 does not need 5. This guy needs his learning 3. I love him. Even though his character is terrible, he is built for what you wanted, which is a very strong man. This person learning 4 needed actually. This person learning 3 needed actually. This person learning 4 needed. This person learning 4 not needed. So more than half of these characters you wouldn't have needed that learning point. Like, why is this? Like, I wouldn't normally write a game for this because it doesn't matter that much if your sample characters aren't optimized, right? But in this, where this is literally half your character, I would like them to like put the effort in, because anyone who looks at this book and sees these rules isn't going to take a long time to figure out, well, but if we are allowed to modify these archetypes, I'm just going to modify this guy. No, sorry, this guy to have less charisma and put that into reflexes. And then maybe I reduced my physical to 7+ with that, so I don't need gunnery mech. Why is that only at 4? Oh, because this is 8. This would be at 3. I could arguably get it like even higher if I reduce build and buy a special attribute. Like, it's always going to be the same math, and it's always going to be the exact same math, and that is bad. That is really bad.
It is really bad.
Nothing to distinguish these characters except for their mech skills. So, who, like, you would not care about anything else. So
there isn't really a choice involved. You need to have these to be good at this game.
Yep.
And that's it.
The only one, like, you can be a house regular, it means you can be more snooty towards the more mercenary folk and so on and so forth. Whatever. So, in terms of a role-playing game, this kind of fails, because if some of your shit is so integral to your game that everyone has to have it, then just to make it a thing everyone has. That is why 5th edition D&D gives you your automatic +2 or +3 or +4 to hit from just for proficiency, because the game realized that you kind of want to give people that. This is also why a lot of games that are level based just give you per level bonuses and stuff.
Yep.
And why games that are more kitchen sink like Shadowrun end up needing to make a bunch of specialization types so that not everybody is going to want to be the driver. Like, that is what's happening. Everybody will want to be the driver. So they all build like riggers. So it's all the same character. Plus, with like a few accoutrements are fine, but you're not going to really stand out just because you have gambling as opposed to appraisal or something. Like, it's not really going to matter that much.
Doesn't come up.
You're all going to be the same, and that's bad.
It's so bad.
And then they have rules for old system conversion. Who cares? They have advancement points, and they have skill points. This is kind of to explain. Like, this is kind of you're learning by doing. Or by training, and this is like wildcard points. Who cares? It's not bad to have 2 of them. And then they have personal combat rules, and I'm going to gloss over these a little bit more. These are very, very similar to the BattleTech system.
Funny how that is.
So essentially, you end up playing BattleTech system with human-sized mechs, meat mechs, you might call them, which are your characters. Because all of this, if you have played BattleTech, is super familiar. Like, even these modifiers are the fucking same.
They're exactly the same.
Like, not all of them are identical, but a lot of them are.
A lot of them are.
And there's some stuff in here that's different, but not most of it is like exactly you're playing BattleTech, but with people. And that's a problem, actually, because BattleTech takes a while. It's fine if it takes a while because it's a game about like tactical combat with vehicles. Facing matters and stuff like that. It shouldn't really be maybe as important that we know how to fight with pistols for this ridiculously. Also, you have hit locations, which is great, fun. They forget to put in that if you die, if your torso gets destroyed. But that's, I mean, they can infer that because there's no category for that. There are feeling rules, and you might think this is one of those games that keeps you in the bed for months after you nearly die. Actually, not the case. They know what kind of, like, the setting says, yeah, it's going to take you a few days to sleep off your leg getting completely annihilated by a laser or something. Which is
Oh,
at that point I think that's kind of fine.
one thing I did forget to say. They
Yeah.
did, when we were talking about the pre-gen characters and so on, there's this fine tradition amongst FASA Corporation that began this, but this has continued with every single person who has owned Shadowrun since, and BattleTech, is they always get at least a couple of the sample characters either wrong, like they do the math wrong, or they just build them badly.
Yeah.
And this has happened in every edition of Shadowrun, and this has happened in every
Mhm.
edition of MechWarrior as well.
Yes. True.
And they can't get away with it no matter who owns the franchise. It happens every fucking time.
The Bureau, thank you for the follow. I want to talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
There is, of course, something to be said for like in a game to not make the perfect guy to do the job.
Mhm.
It can very much be a more compelling character if you're struggling sometimes.
Mhm.
Shadowrun kind of does this by giving too many specializations you can do, so you end up not having all of them. You end up struggling with stuff that's happening to you. Like, oh, a spirit has shown up. My non-magical character will have big trouble now. I hope the mage can deal with it. Conversely, the mage is like, well, I have to like deal with the wage. I hope the sniper gets taken out before I get taken out. And then you have like a nice little thing where your combat guy takes out the sniper and the mage takes out the spirit, and everybody did a thing that makes them feel good. But in this, ultimately, you're just going to like be the same. So it makes no sense to build a bad character, except like not in the categories that matter, which is physical. Physical is the one that matters because it governs your mech piloting. And then you take the mech skills, and then you are the best guy. Like it's exactly the clan pilot, the clan mech warrior, because the clan just, per the writing, just makes the best guys. Technically, actually, this is not ideal because clan gets a bonus to reflex or something, so you could put more points, and you could get to 1+ in things or whatever. But
pretty easily.
Like, yes, not all of these people are going to be genetic super freaks. But building wrong in this is even less good because, again, your attributes will not change. Like, if I don't put the 7 in reflexes, if I can, to character creation start, I'll never be able to do it later, as per the book. So, why wouldn't I do the 7 there? Like, the negative of making the bad choices is amplified. And that's not great. Also, again, like, these characters should have gunnery mech and piloting mech just under essential skills, and then everything else is hobby skills almost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like it would be a very strong system then if they just did it like that. Or they just said, I don't know, gunnery and piloting are an attribute.
Yep.
Because at this point, it's that important.
Yep. Gunnery and piloting should be something other than that and should not be derived from like other sources. It should be its own thing. You can kind of decide what you want to be better at. And then maybe there's a third one, which maybe you come up with another skill that like governs something. The BattleTech the BattleTech computer game does 4 things. It does guts, which governs like you can take damage better. You just brace and take less damage, which makes 0 sense. That's a good game mechanic. They have piloting, which governs that you don't fall over, because getting hit enough makes you fall over eventually in this game. And that's bad because you get hurt, because you're falling over on a 10-meter mech, and you're usually sitting at the top of it, so that's going to be a bad fall. Then you have gunnery, which is self-explanatory, and then you have tactical awareness.
Yep.
And these are all 2 different things. They have different special abilities associated, and that's already a better system than this, and that's for a computer game. I would rather use their system with slight tweaks than this. But anyway, I want to now we kind of be done with character creation and stuff. And again, combat rules. It's very nitty-gritty combat. It works as rules. You can play this the rules wise because it's again very close to the BattleTech system. It has all the rules you need to fight.
Oh yeah.
You're also gonna take a while to actually do it because it's complex. Also, it demands a hex grid map.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Blah 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 blah. I kind of want to get past and get to the game section really quickly.
Mm-hmm. Or in the running the game.
Yeah. Is it this already running? Oh yeah, we're already there.
Mm-hmm.
Haha, cool. So running the game. What does this game want you to be? This game essentially wants you to be a mercenary company that does battle mech fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And it tells you some stuff about like how to be dramatic and so on, be flexible, be confident, be merciful, be an example, ho, be a storyteller. Yes. Oh, I want to join the army. Like this section is fine. I just make fun of it a little bit. They tell you the essentials of like telling a actual story, and then how to run a campaign, but then we get to problems. Creating a mech unit. Let's just look at how long this section is. So I have half a page on 64. Oh no. Oh, this is better than I thought. Okay. So you have fleshing out the unit, typical unit assignments. No, this is still okay.
That's still part of it, yeah.
Yeah. And then encounters. Here. So we have like 8 pages of creating your mech unit, which is sort of dice rolls in it and like decisions. Like no one's gonna care about being in a larger unit. Just play mech with the characters. Like this is bad. These lists are weird and I don't understand them.
Yeah. And it feels out of place.
Like this should not be like you should not have random lists to determine this. Why? Because it's your whole thing. Mm-hmm. You can't be like, oh, I want to play Mech Warrior, but I don't want to do the work of coming up with the mech unit we are gonna be in. No. You have to come up with that. You have to
come up with that. Yeah.
it's the basic thing. It's like the difference between being in a clan mech unit and a non-clan mech unit. Like you basically, oh, you have format characters. We're cool. Yeah, awesome. Like, who are you all playing? Well, we're all playing Inner Sphere people. Well, I rolled randomly that this is a clan unit, so make new characters.
Yep. This is so bad. So, like, to equate this to, the game that I ran yesterday, this would be the equivalent of me rolling some dice and going, no, you guys get this, Johnson, and you get these 3 NPCs that go with you that you just met. Yeah. And now you're a Shadowrun team that does wet work, even though your character is against that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You are working for... Oh, Humanus! Interesting. What characters did you make? Oh, you're playing a giant shark, and you're playing someone who never takes the helmet off, which isn't sus at all, and you are playing a 6-armed lady. Well, that sounds perfect. Yeah, let's do some fucking war crimes as Humanus. Like, what the fuck? And then,
this is like randomly rolling your alignment for the entire party of your D&D group. Like, no, don't do this.
It's also a thing where, again, like PC only start by like what I take umbrage with here is successor state mech units. Like you can have PCs only. I guess we wrote that maybe. I don't understand what the fuck is going on. Like,
I don't even know what's going on. No, like
one last company. Like you don't want to be part of a large unit. Like that's also something no mech game on PC does. No narrative game. They always give you a few guys you actually end up caring about because they are your other pilots, and they know that doing a 12, like potentially like a company, I think it's like 4 lances. It's 3 lances. This is 12 mechs. Imagine having to be like, okay, we have 4 players and 8 NPCs who also pilot mechs. And they are also going to be there in the fights. And so I have to make really big fights where I roll dice against myself 5/6 of the time because the players are only 4 and I am 20 guys on this battle. The DM is basically just masturbating on you at that point.
Mm-hmm.
No, you want the PCs to be the ones to do it, and then you have maybe some targets they have to defend that might have some guns that help or something. Like it's bad.
This is just like the worst way to go. Hey, this is how you build the campaign.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Then you roll if there's like if you have pilot support, which is interesting because what if 2 players made pilots? Do they not have planes? But they paid for their planes with points. What now? Like, fuck you. Like, that's the one exception where I'd say, okay, maybe you do have mech pilots as NPCs is when you have half the players as aerospace pilots, because that shit takes place in the game, even in the tabletop, in a completely different area. Like again, the skies, that's just dogfighting and so on. It's just its own rule set and blah.
So one thing I've said in the past more than once is engineer brained. This is not engineer brained. This is military brained.
Oh yeah.
Like, which is, I think I've only said one other time, and that was the Kevin Symbieta book for After the Bomb, where we were in that section, like talking about, I don't know, about some region, and it went into great detail about they have 20 heavy tanks and 120 artillery pieces.
Yes.
That's military brain. Stop that.
Yes. Like, describing what a trinary clan mech unit is to the DM and to the players is completely fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
What is it, by the way? It's stars is 5 mechs, so binary is 10, and primary is 15. Haha. Yeah. Very difficult. What is the problem here, though? Well, it shouldn't be in the section about creating it randomly. It should just be a description.
Yeah, that's what it should be. It should be describing to us how mech units are organized, and then giving us possible, okay, well, your unit might be different because you're mercenaries or whatever, you know?
Like, if you have 5 PCs, maybe your lance is 5 strong. Maybe that's your gimmick. I don't know. Because who cares? Ultimately, you have to give it a little bit of leeway, which this game just doesn't do. And then you can affiliate yourself with some fuckers. Like, why would I be affiliated with existing mech warrior mercenary groups? Why? Obviously, I want to make my own one. Like, no one wants to be in Lyndon's company or in the Kellhound. Okay, the Kellhounds, maybe someone will. Wait, why is independent only on a 6 to 7? What the fuck? Who the fuck are Snort's irregulars? Who's Snort? I want to hear Snort's story.
Oh, God. Are we talking about Norse mythology at this point? Like, this is how I feel like all this.
Why would you roll, like, apparently Free World League, Draconis Command, Federate Commonwealth, Minor Power. So, are we a clan mech company associated with the Draconis Combine? What? No. Also, conversely, if we made a bunch of guys, like, if I play this, other players probably know enough lore to know where they want to start. And maybe one of them wants to be a Capellan defector that's on the Free Worlds League or something. Like, go nuts. But don't dice roll this shit. Like, it's all decisions. Okay, the clans, actually, you have to roll your own thing, I guess. Okay, fair enough.
That's fine.
And since only 6 clans are there, it's very easy to roll a dice for that. But imagine, like, clan nerds will have very strong feelings about this, and they will not want to be in some of these clans.
Oh, yeah, very, very strong feelings. Like, even stronger feelings than people have about Warhammer 40k, honestly.
Yeah.
But so the way that I would change this immediately be, why don't you just describe everything and then
Mm-hmm.
at the end say, if you guys can't decide what to do, here's some random generation tables.
Yep.
Frame it like that.
Yep.
Don't give us random generation tables, then give us
Yeah.
the lore later in the
Like
book.
okay, this does like it does say that you can roll the dice
Oh yeah.
at the start of this, but then every section after that says you roll the dice, which is dumb.
Yeah. And well,
Um,
the other part of my criticism is that it's just like you're saying Draconis this and whatever,
mhm,
but the book, taken on its own,
mhm.
hasn't described these things to us yet.
Yeah, but they describe it at the end. But yeah,
Yeah.
the story section should be before all of this.
Yeah. Like,
But they do describe it. But again, this
yeah,
book
they do.
also
Yeah.
again it's for fans of the battle game, so it's kind of
Oh,
like
yeah.
okay, I give you some leeway there, but also not really because now it keeps gonna keep continuing, telling us giving us basically random encounter tables for different types of missions. Um, which okay, it's that kind of era where you have to have these fucking tables, but
Mm-hmm.
um, there's so much of this, and so much you're just supposed to roll.
Mm-hmm. And again, like this would be okay or better if this was at the back of the book.
Yeah, imagine also if you are in like a campaign
Yeah.
and you're about like, oh, we have to free this planet from the usurpers to get their rightful house back into a thing. Yeah, cool, awesome. And then you roll your 2d6, which you're supposed to read like
Mm-hmm.
1 5 1
Like a
6. Yeah,
D100, except
like a
it's
D100, except it's a D66. It's
yeah.
the dice of the beast almost.
Yeah.
And then you just roll armistice twice in a row. And you can't fight because it's an armistice or something. Like you don't want that to be on the list here, guys.
And then the thing is also, it says, you scroll back up, it says you randomly generate how many major events happen per month,
Yep.
which I could see how that would go fucking crazy very quickly.
Yeah.
Especially if at any time you roll a 12. If you roll a 12 even one time, suddenly you're dealing with like 5 armistices in a row or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the fuck is going on? Or 5 major campaigns.
Or change of allegiance. We just keep changing allegiances. Like, what the fuck?
Or let's make it even worse. Let's say, okay, yeah, you've been working for this clan for the last year, or this local baron, or whatever, and oh yeah, things are great. And then you roll death of major personage, and that's the only major personage is that baron.
Yeah.
And immediately afterwards, you get things like, oh, there's a technological advance, and there's periphery contact, and then this and that. It's just, oh, it's too much. This is like what happened with the Game of Thrones game, honestly.
Like on average, you're gonna get 2, but 3 isn't that unlikely. A 9 isn't that unlikely.
Really isn't.
So
and you're doing this 12 times over the year, also. So
yeah,
you're gonna get a 12 at some point.
Yeah, it's great. And these are not enough events for the amount of times this stuff could happen.
Oh.
But yeah, okay. Then we finally get to equipment, which is a section I won't fault them for at all. This equipment is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good.
And they have a lot of it, and it's fine. A lot of personal equipment. A lot of the weapons damage is in D6s. Power usage is how much power they draw per shot, whatever. And blah 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 blah. Can't like this is fine. This is okay.
Can't fault it. You just can't fault any of it.
Yeah, it's not overly complicated. Like if your gun is 5 stats, that's completely fine.
Yeah.
Like cost, range, shots, reload, and damage. It's perfect.
That's fine. Like
no one cares what bullet fall off and shit in the.
No.
Yeah.
Like this is the point where they did not go military brain and they just here's all these things. We're gonna have a cool description of it though. We're gonna go into detail about it. Like even the description for sniper scope is good. Like that's what I want. I want the flamer to be described to me. A heavy metal tube with a trigger mechanism and a flash chamber attached. Yep. Like most games aren't even willing to do that.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, you can buy all this, you can use it, blah blah blah, and then the rest of this book is just going to be a historical overview of the inner sphere,
Mm-hmm.
all of it.
Which, yeah.
And what, Trey, what is missing?
A lot, honestly.
No, but okay, if you had to boil it down to one thing, and I'm I'm being a bit of a nitpicker. No, not a nitpicker. I'm being a bit of a butt here for asking you. But what is really missing here?
The thing that's missing here for me is how exactly are we supposed to play the game?
Exactly. The thing that's missing here is, so I bought a game about being a mech warrior. It's very big on the cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were there any mech fighting rules in this book? No. Because you're supposed to already own BattleTech to do that with.
Yep.
Isn't that amazing? They only give you personal combat rules. There's no mech warrior fighting rules in here. Why? Well, simple. Because the BattleTech rules are their whole own book that's just as thick as this one. Amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely amazing. And even then, if they give us that, they probably wouldn't tell us how we're supposed to run a campaign. Because like they gave us lots of tables. They gave us some details on those tables. They even gave us some details on how to use those tables, but they didn't really say this is how it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Like they gave us tons of examples, but not a hey, here's like this is something that would happen over the course of a year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they give you a bunch of random stuff and so on to roll on, and a bunch of ideas. Yeah. Like it is fine, but it's not great. And Waggles, to quote Waggles here. And then when you buy the BattleTech book, you realize how much better that is.
Yep.
I'd say it is more focused to what it wants to be, which is a good war game. And I would give BattleTech that it is a good war game. At least the versions of it I have played have all been fine.
It'd have been fun.
I would argue that in the board, specifically in the tabletop, clan is OP. But maybe I don't know. Maybe I need to learn to play. I don't know. The issue, though, is obvious. If I buy this book to have a mech warrior campaign, I can't.
No.
Because there's no mech fighting rules. And that is horrendously terrible.
It's so bad. Like
also, there isn't really any description on how I am supposed to plug this in. Though, to be fair, I know how to plug this in because it's quite easy if you know BattleTech. Since it's the same dice resolution mechanic, you can just take your skills of 4+ and 5+ for piloting and gunnery respectively, and plug that into the tabletop setting directly. And so the pilot you have has these two stats to govern what matters in the tabletop. Which is even more why I say these are the only two stats that fucking matter. So they shouldn't have been like derived in the exact same way as everything else.
It really shouldn't have been. There's just so much that's wrong here.
And I want to point out to Sander, to fear they sold me a half-baked sci-fi punk game. Listen, the issue is like is this okay to do or not? Is my question. No. Because I would say it is as okay to do as selling your DM guide separately from your player's guide.
Well, okay. So, devil's advocate to that. That's fine if you're calling them those things. We're not calling them this in this case. Instead, we're like, this is the BattleTech role-playing game. When we should be saying, this is how you do the personal side of BattleTech or something.
Yeah. I agree with that, but Devil's Advocate in that case says many games make you buy more than one book to play it. D&D technically makes you buy 3. I would argue you don't need the monster manual to play it, but it probably helps.
Yeah, it does.
And the only reason you don't need the DM guide is if you already DM'd a game before, then you don't need the DM guide. because you can find magical weapons these days. You can find that online if you want to. But still,
and yet my favorite games are all in one. Fancy
yeah,
that.
yeah, fancy that. But yeah, they could get away with this because it is a game that really only people who play BattleTech have ever touched. Because either you like this cover immediately, they're like, oh, I want to play this, or you don't care, in which case it doesn't matter. So I would almost say in this case it's more okay than most, because again it's like Cthulhu. Like you either like it or you don't, and either you buy all the products for it or you don't. But there isn't really like many middle of the road people who are like, yeah, Cthulhu. I played, like, I bought one book and I played it like 5 times. Either you really go hard for that game, or you don't care.
Yeah.
If you treat MechWarrior as a supplement to the BattleTech game, it makes sense. Just how they reasonably expected people to treat it in 89. Exactly, Barrick, exactly. Doesn't, however, offer someone a way to intro BattleTech at all. True, and that's an issue.
Yep. That's the biggest issue with this.
Yep. And that's always been the issue of particular MechWarrior, because they have never done this correctly. They've never really delivered a all-in-one experience, because you always end up with the here's your guys you make, little guys, you know, do you like the little guys? And sometimes they pilot these big stompy guys, and this is the way you play that game, which is similar to how we play little guys, but not the same. Yeah. And yeah, after talking about this for nearly 2 hours, to fully give MechWarrior its due, we can now quickly go over to Lancer, which, to the credit of MechWarrior, when does this come out? 2018 or something? 19. basically 28 years later.
Yep.
Is the best mech game I have ever read.
Yep.
Very
Flat
effortlessly. By not having a lot of the fat attached and also making better decisions.
Way better decisions.
And I would argue it's very possible to take this game here and flange on MechWarrior and make it make sense. While retaining all the strength of Lancer.
Easily could, honestly. Like, I know that there are some fan projects online just for that, so.
Oh, I had not heard of MechWarrior Destiny, Barrick. That's interesting. Which does simplify the mech combat rules so you can have an all-in-one package. Nobody likes it. Yeah, because the people who, again, the target audience for this already likes this. So they will not go for a dumbing down of it, because they know it. It's not complicated for them.
If I had to make a comparison, MechWarrior Destiny and its simplification is similar to Shadowrun 6th Edition's simplifications, which is, you know, should illustrate to you why people don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, please go. Sorry.
And Lancer is like the right level of complexity.
Yep.
People who say that Lancer is too complex, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Lancer's complexity is built bottom up, so it's fine. It's like saying D&D is complicated because the 20th level character has a lot of skills and abilities. Since you get fed these abilities over the course of like a year of play, it's not complicated because you learn to play with them over time. And you learn what you like are good at and so on. So Lancer, we did a review of Lancer back in the day. So I don't want to do a full read here. However, how does this game just make mech combat better?
They're actually having it in the book. Step 1. Yes,
they have it in the book. Correct. They also, very importantly, give everybody just for free a starting mech, which isn't part of their build, so to speak. You can build a character any way you want, and you will have a mech for free. It is, and that's the one thing I disagree with this game. It is always going to be the same mech. And I don't like that.
I don't either.
Because I think that is the one mistake they made. But I think what I would simply do is allow players to pick whatever mech they like from the start. But say, for the first mission, first leg of the campaign, it works like that thing, that mech you all start with. Because if the way it works in Lancer is you buy license levels in particular mechs, for each level you level up in, and everyone starts with a license for the same one, which is the Everest.
Everest,
which is just your basic stompy mech man. And then you can, after you have one license in Everest, you then get to pick any of the other ones and license them up and get special abilities from that. And so has to have in the book because there's not already a yeah, exactly, Barrick. But it's my point. The point is, I guess this isn't like D&D books are 400 pages long, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing that stopped them really from putting the BattleTech rules in here. It's just copy and paste. Nothing stopped them. They just didn't do it because it would have cost them extra money and everybody already owned them. But as a game, I'm sorry, it's just a fail state if you don't have the rules for your game in your game. And it is its own thing.
Yeah. That's why I'm such an advocate for one book only games too. Like,
yes.
Because, okay, so whenever you have a product, there is a certain thing that's referred to as the buy-in. Sometimes this is literal, like how much money you're going to spend, okay?
Yeah.
But then there's also the buy-in in terms of what do I have to consume in order to do this? And Lancer, honestly, the buy-in wasn't that rough because so many reasons why. And it is a product of modernity in some regards because they have their online build tools that they have that you can use anytime. Yep. There's so many resources online for it, etc. And the book is well laid out. That helps as well. There's so many little things that go into that. But they don't rest on their laurels at any point because there's no laurels to rest on. So there's a higher buy-in because of that. Because you need to, okay, how does this fit into whatever society this is?
Yes.
But all these other games that we've been talking about, Shadowrun is resting on its laurels with 6th edition. Vampire has done that to some degree with 5th edition, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
None of those games, as a result, are innovating as hard as this is. Because this knows you're going to have a bigger buy-in, so it has to do it tighter. Yep. And as a result, here we go.
Yep. This is also just, thankfully these days, like, this book was laid out probably on some sort of like very large computer by some sort of specialist with tools that sucked.
Yeah.
This book, you can make good layouts in PDFs pretty easily these days.
Yeah.
A lot of things are automated now, and it allows for a tight product very easily on a tight budget. But yeah, let's talk real quick about. So we talked about character creation in MechWarrior. Yeah. How does it work in Lancer? Well, you take a background, these are almost one-to-one. You could use all of this very easily for MechWarrior. It's just basically the same shit.
Honestly, it is, yeah.
And these are examples, obviously. You don't have to pick any of this, but you can. And then, well, how does it work? You have your background, which you just freeform, and then you pick example triggers, or you pick some triggers. What are triggers? Well, triggers are just things you're better at than most people. These are freeform as well, but there's sort of examples. You get 4 triggers at +2. And those triggers are, for example, act unseen or unheard, apply fists to faces, assault, blow something up, charm, get a hold of something, get something quickly. So anytime your character would do something that is that thing, they get a +2. It is immediately better than a rigid skill system in BattleTech. because obviously
Yeah.
it
And
is. I don't even like if I have to explain it. I'm already. I think like I don't want to buy my attributes up to then buy my skills and then have a skill I'll never use. In let's see what would that be in here? I unarmed combat. It won't use very often, for example.
no.
Because I have blade skill. But if I have apply fists to faces, that's just more descriptive, and it works for me, and I understand what I have, and I can use it.
Yep.
And then obviously as you level up, you get more of these, or you can raise these higher.
Yep. And that goes back to what I was saying about buy-in. The buy-in here is here's a page or two of examples. Pick 4 of them. The end.
Then what's your pilot like? Well, pilots have some stats, which are HP is 6 plus grit. What's grit? We're getting to that later. Size is 1/2 hex. Evasion is 10. E-defense is 10. Speed is 4. What does this mean? Be might change if they have armor. Like, these are your battle map stats, basically. This is a guy with a gun out on the field without a mech. It's not great, but pretty evasive because hard to hit. Small target. We don't know yet what grit is. So has it been explained? I don't think it has been explained.
No, I think it gets explained in the level section.
Yeah, I think so. Then you pick your mech. Again, to start, it is going to be the Everest, but you can pick it later. They're all modular, so you can slap on other things. Frames, mech. Oh yeah, the frame is the mech, the size, how big the frame is, the armor is how much armor it has. Mounts is weapon mounts. Different weapon types have different ranges. Melee, CQB, rifles, launches, cannons, nexus. Weather purchase for swarms of self-propelled armed drones. Nice. System points, which are special systems you put in, and core systems are built in. You always have them, I think. Yeah, exactly. If either it has a core system or it doesn't. Here's base stats. Okay. These are max stats as well. Repair cap is how easy it is to repair, how fast it is, evasion. Pretty self-explanatory. This is, if you don't BattleTech, actually, this is kind of similar.
Yep. And then also the thing we skipped over was there's 4 core mix skills that you have.
Oh yeah, right. Why are they?
Keep going. Oh, there you are. You just passed it. Passed it. There you go. Whole agility, systems, and engineering.
Oh, is this almost like what I said? Not quite on 1-to-1, but almost what I said with the 4 skills in the BattleTech video game, which were guts, gunnery, piloting, and tactics. How do I shoot gun in this? Its own. I think that's its own skill governed by the gun, or by what was it? Do guns have their own thing? I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot too. I'm glad we're going back into this.
Yeah. Anyway, you have these skills, and they govern some stuff about special abilities that you can get. So it's very similar to the BattleTech computer game in that respect. And depending on what kind of pilot you want to be, you will prioritize different skills, different points. Yeah.
And unlike most systems that have this four spread, all of them are useful.
Yeah.
Always.
Yep.
If you decide to be, I want to be Scotty, but in Mech, and go max engineering, that is completely valid in this system.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's the reason why we couldn't just by a glance figure out which one covers guns, because I think none of them do, if I recall rightly.
Yeah, I think it's its own thing.
Yeah, I think it's based on your grit and your licensing level.
Yeah, I think so too. So,
which is again like proficiency bonus.
yeah, and these all give you these replace triggers in mech combat, because your triggers tend to be for personal play, and your mech skills are mech skills. When we all get them, we all get all 4 of them. Not necessarily at the plus, but we all get the skill. Why? Because this is a game about fucking mechs. Of course, everybody has one. What is the point otherwise? Like again, that is the issue with playing the trader or playing the engineer in this game. As soon as you don't have a mech, what are you fucking doing? For most of the game, nothing. This is an NPC guy. This is this also an NPC guy you sent behind enemy lines. Like no player is gonna want to be this guy and sneak into some base that then gets stomped over by a bunch of huge robots. Like who cares? And tech is the worst. You just sit at home, not even do anything, and then you draw repair and get shit on if you repair badly, I guess. Like
that's exactly it.
No.
It's so bad. Whereas this takes the more, I don't know, let's just say expanse route, where you're a fucking mech pilot or you're a fucking belter. Of course you know stuff about spaceships and or mechs. It's just
like tech. Though he has received military training, this character is not a warrior, but without him, wars would not be won. The tech's primary interest in life is figuring out how things work and how to keep them working. A battle mech is his ultimate challenge, a system of infinite complexity based on lost technology. This is untrue. His talent for repairing mechs makes this character an invaluable member of the team. But his companions may have to look out for him if he becomes involved in a combat situation. Yeah, almost like you don't want to be this character. It's not really a character that fits your game. And my issue with... I tried to play, I believe, even this version of Mech Warrior. Because someone had the book. I was like, yeah, sure, I can run that for everybody. And then someone said, I'll play the engineer. And then that person was very bored at the table, because what can I do? We are fighting the mech fight right now. I am sorry that you are bored, but I can't involve you right now. There's a bunch of 100-ton battle robots shooting hundreds of missiles at each other. You do not want to be there in your underwear or even in an armored suit. Like, meh. So here everybody has a mech. It is a given. It is guaranteed. So it just works. Let's see about grit. Because that is the thing we haven't talked about yet. And I need to like structure of play. Let me actually look at the index that they surely have.
Oh yeah, they do have an index. It's worth noting.
Grit. G. General tags. What?
Weirdly targeted.
This is a weird index. General rules terminology. Grits. Yeah, it's one of our skills. Cool. What is it? Yeah. Character terminology, grit, level page 14. Apparently we just missed it. Grit. Pilots are lucky and unique individuals, multi-talented and resilient. Even so, brand new pilots don't measure up to tempered, battle-hardened veterans when push comes to shove. The benefits of experience are measured by grit, a bonus that reflects your pilot's deep reservoirs of resolves to live. Grit is half of your character's license level, rounded up. It improves attack bonuses, hit points, and save targets for both your pilot and your mech. So essentially, your first mission, you're going to have no grit. And then after that, you're going to have 1 grit because you have level 1s, where 1 divided by 2 round up is 1. So, yeah. It's basically...
Yeah, there's a level table somewhere, too.
Yeah, so it's a proficiency bonus, essentially.
Basically,
yeah. Oh, yes, attacks are explains. Accuracy and difficulty. Accuracy and difficulty are temporary modifiers gained and lost in rapid chaotic moments of action. For example, 2 mech pilots equally matched the duel amidst the shifting debris of a scattered frigate. Attempting to land a shot, They dodge to avoid incoming fire, floating slacked bulkheads. The breeze makes okay, thank you. Situations like this can be used to gain accuracy difficulty. Each point of accuracy adds a d6. Each difficulty subtracts a d6. Accuracy and difficulty cancel each other out on a 1-to-1 basis. Okay, how do I roll on something? Well, you roll a d20. And how does it work? Well, you roll the d20, you either subtract or add your d6s, and you add a static bonus on top, and that is your roll. Yep. Static bonuses would be if you're rolling, what would we have earlier, one of those mech skills we might have a bonus to. You have a grid that might give us a bonus, and so on and so forth. But usually we're rolling a d20 and adding a few points to it. So it's
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
If you played 5e, you know that this will be a small number of bonuses rather than a ridiculously large number of bonuses.
Yes. Attack with 2 accuracy, roll 2d6 and choose the highest of the 2 dice. So it's never. It's also important. If you are lucky enough to roll some dice, you don't add together to the result. Instead, you roll. Okay, so if I roll 28 accuracy dice and don't get a 6, I still only have a +5 or +4 or whatever.
Yep.
To my list, so it's not gonna get out of hand, which is a thing. What was that game where we had like 3d20 of difficulty? We did it recently.
Alternity. We were thinking of Alternity.
Wasn't it also in? Oh no, it was Alternity.
It was Alternity. Alternity was so bad that memory holing any portion of it, I don't blame you for. Just how they did their difficulty, that just completely ruined it. And then the few number of options. But this game is just extremely straightforward by comparison.
Yep. And then you have downtime scenes in which you can do things for which your character stuff matters more. Leveling up gives you 0 backgrounds, you get all of this stuff.
Yep.
So rank 1 talents, which we didn't go over, but you can look at them on page 90. And then you get, for each level up, gain a few other bonuses like here.
Scroll back down to that little section with that gives you LO0. So comparing this once again to our lovely Mech Warrior game, this is much more straightforward right away. We're not prioritizing anything. We're not doing anything fanny or fancy. Yep. You pick 4 triggers, and it can be any of those triggers from the list. The background just is the background. You pick 1 mech skill or 2 mech skills, and it depends if you get +2 to 1 or +1 to 2. You get 3 talents. Everybody gets 3 talents. You don't get one guy that gets 1 talent because he prioritizes things differently.
We glossed over them. Talents are basically like feats equivalents.
Yeah, the feats.
No.
They have 3 levels, which is exactly what happened in the Expanse RPG, which is similar to the modern age system. Yes. I like systems like that where they do 3 tiers and then that's it.
Yeah.
Which, oh god, it's so good. It just works out so good. And then they also have, as you level up, at every 3rd LL, you also get a new core bonus, which is a powerful improvement to all the mechs you build. Which I like rewards like that as you continue to advance, and I like that they aren't every single level.
Yep. They also allow you explicitly to reallocate some stuff if you think your build was bad, which is always good.
Especially if you change mechs, this is very important because suddenly you're not using a support mech anymore, so you want to change your engineering points very badly. Yeah,
because maybe it wasn't a good fit for you to do it in the first place. Otherwise, when you stick with the engineering, you can just take one that is good for that. But whatever, the point also being, since this game out of the box tells you to level up after each mission, reallocating points after each mission is exactly right. Otherwise, I would fault this rule for being but the player might know, but why don't you allow them to change until the level up? It's fine because the game says level up after each mission. Though in later books they have apparently introduced different ways to do the level up system.
Yeah, I have. And actually, it's technically not every mission gives you a level up. It's the first mission you get your level up immediately.
I think, wasn't it every mission you get one?
Let's see here. Oh, yeah. It actually, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. But
And
you
again,
don't
after
have,
every
technically, you don't have to play it like that, of course. Like, if you want a longer campaign, meh.
And it only goes to level 12, which is unusual
Yeah.
for games, but at the same time works here.
Yeah, it works. And this is, I don't mind levels here, usually I do, just because they build it in a way that there isn't a wizard in this. It has a whole other section of the book with 200 pages of spells or something.
Mhm.
So since there isn't a huge like disparity in ability between these characters, I don't mind the level up thing.
Yeah, it actually works pretty good in this system, honestly. And this is such a simple enough system that you could do this levelless. It just
Yeah.
would look quite a bit different.
Yeah. I don't like the levels work for me because they don't key it as you have slain the dragon, you get 5,000 XP. No, they do it as but you are more hardened now, and also you get better stuff because your license level got improved.
Yep, and there's no fireball either. There's none of those breakpoints in here.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff as well here about like who gives us, like we can again roll stuff here. And why is this good while it's bad over there in MechWarrior? Well, in this you're supposed to like come up with your setting as well. They do give you in a secondary book an official setting, but more or less the setting in this, well, the humans climb the ladder of tech, and they're all the way up now, and they're everywhere, and but they're still humans, so they're still fighting amongst each other. So just make something up. So in a dice system here that tells you like just what the kind of story you're telling can be really good if people don't have ideas, or just as an idea factory. Like we are pirate scum. Cool, I like that. And who gives us orders? The Hierophant or High Priest. That's already interesting. What kind of pirates?
Yeah.
Give you like, and again, in BattleTech it doesn't work because it's all about this is a realistic unit of mechs in the 31st century that stomp on a planet and that means they have this many mechs and they have this many planes. They have this much support personnel and they fly this and that dropship. While in here it's like, well, I don't know what's going on over there in the Orion Nebula, but I guess we're playing there now. So there's already pirates there. Cool. Who are they preying on? We must find out. And then you give a personal history roll and goals. Again, you can pick or roll all of this. Very specific about that. And then it explains how to make skill checks, which is roll d20, do the usual thing we already talked about. And a 10 or more is an accomplish. You do it. Congratulations. So that means with how it is to start in this, if you have you can have a +6 in something, right?
Yep.
If you really buff it. If you have a +6 and your grit is very high, I guess you can auto succeed some things, but very few maybe. But does this add grit at all?
Well, yeah, grit, you add to nearly all your rolls.
Difficulty. To add any relevant modifiers from triggers. Yeah, because accuracy is in it. Yeah, exactly. No, wait, no, it's not. No, wait, triggers? It doesn't say grit is in it. Maybe because this is a skill check for... Oh. It's been a while since we read this, and now it comes out that we didn't do all of our homework. To be fair, I just thought I knew this, I remembered more, and I only told Drake today that this was the format.
Well, it's fine. It's just like... okay, so in us stumbling along, though, it's just showing the benefit of this, because we're able to still figure it out as we're going along. With the MechWarrior book, we weren't able to figure it out as we go along, because there's nothing to figure out. In this case, it's very easy to figure it out. It's there somewhere, you know.
It's also like a very niche thing that isn't going to break the game either way, because, let's look at it. Name your goal, the GM decides consequence of failure. So what happens if that you probably don't have to tell the group, but you know. Determine which triggers activate, if any. The game is invoking your player's background, which is also background is a +1 or -1 advantage, I guess. Okay, that's cool. See, it's already because they're using all these icons as well. I like that because this means advantage. This means difficult. Accuracy was difficult. So difficulty. Yeah. And then you roll, and either you get 9 or less or you don't. And my whole question was, okay, this is understood. My question was, do I add grid to it or not? Because if I do add grid to it, I would see some things being auto-successful, because otherwise, with triggers plus accuracy, maybe it is also maybe almost always auto-successful. But since the target number is always 10 and the DM just gives you a minus with a die maybe, it's very easy system as well. Very, very quick. Teamwork gains you a +1 advantage. Accuracy, sorry. No matter how many people are helping, which is, I would say, since accuracy isn't OP, I would have allowed more than, but that is nitpicking.
Okay, I can answer the question. Grits improves attack bonuses, hit points, and save targets.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it does not also play into this, which is fine.
Yep.
Makes sense that fighting and combat would be like, yeah, it doesn't go into other things that are not directly combat related.
Yes, cool. Because I blew up an orphanage with my mech, it does not make me better at seducing somebody.
Fuck those orphans that had it coming.
All right. Okay.
Yep. You have damages which are very low because your guy doesn't have a lot of hit points.
Nope.
And I think you can yeah, like dying, it's the far future they can get you back. And there's a lot more like about like how to
that image.
The grammar?
That image made me think I would love to play the lady from Kung Fu Hustle, but in a mech.
Yes, this was the same as that last time we looked at this.
That would be so nice.
You have no evidence. There's no one alive who saw me do that.
But I keep saying that I'm going to play the lady from Kung Fu Hustle in a game. Then whenever we review something, because I said that for Feng Shui also.
That's true.
I said it for a couple other games. I don't remember what at this point.
Yeah. They have they also have Hex Combat, which makes it also very similar to Back Warrior. Different cover system. Like the rules in here are Mech Warrior adjacent because, well, it's ultimately that, but it works differently, and I would argue works better. All you would really need to do to make a BattleTech conversion for this game is to make like up a bunch of classes of mechs, which maybe shouldn't be light, medium, heavy, and assault. Yeah. And then just to write a bunch of mechs in the same style they do. Which would be okay, that's a ton of work because there's so many mechs, but
yeah,
but then
I'm sure there's somebody out there. Yeah. I'm sure there's somebody out there.
The game does let's find a mech, because I don't want to go into it too hard. Here's your starting mech, the Everest. It has a main mount, a flex mount, and a heavy mount, meaning these are the weapon mounts. It has a core system. It has these stats. As we might see, it doesn't have a lot of HP or armor and stuff, but you can add this stuff in. It's interestingly the one mech they also didn't provide art for, which is smart of them, because it should probably look kind of like your mech you're gonna get later. Because again, you can then pick any of the later mechs as soon as the first mission is over and pilot them. And it's always the same system where you have flex mount, heavy mount. Some of them has more than that though, don't they?
Yeah.
For example, main Orcs mount. This guy only has Lancaster, only has that. But you can give other people a bonus and stuff, I think.
Yeah, this is the quintessential support mech that I was talking about.
Yeah. Flex, main orcs mount, orcs, flex, heavy. Like, okay, they only have 3 guns. Maybe that's where the mech warrior thing would be like, but my mech warrior had 27 machine guns on his hand. And I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. Let's make a main mount that's like many machine guns or something. Like, you don't really need to sweat it that hard.
No, you really don't. Like, that's... I could get what BattleTech is and what it does and so on, but this is not trying to be BattleTech, and this is not trying to be Rifts in one specific way. That specific way is we still want the combat to be fast, free-flowing. We don't want to roll dice for 12 attacks each time, etc.
Yep.
We want this. This is definitely its own thing.
Yep.
This is actually a conversation I was having with Ataraxian about Rifts, going on about Rifts, and I was just like, well, the big thing to do with Rifts to make it better is just simplify how many attacks are going on.
Yep. Like, as an example, if you look at this, right? This guy, this Defender Striker mech, 8 hit points. It's not a lot of hit points, but 2 armor, so I guess armor is good. And then, like, yeah, these stats are low, which is good. Low stats are good because then you have quick combat. Okay, Trachea mix is epic. Trachea, Sona didn't turn off the redeems. I will.
No.
So your compliment is that I really look forward to any game you DM for me, and it's always a good time, and it's always high quality and great. Like, it never feels like you have an off day.
Really? Like, that's the funny thing about me is I constantly feel like I'm having off days lately, just personally.
No. The thing is, I will say this, you do cancel games when you feel not good enough to play, but if you feel good enough, it's always fun. It's never an off day. Of course, there's sessions where I'm like, that was epic. While other sessions like, I played with Drake, it was fun. But it's never bad. It's the worst. It's the worst one I can give you is that it's always like, it's fun. It was a fun time.
Which, if that's the worst, thank you. Seriously. Like, I will say, like, after the session was over yesterday, I was kind of like, Nura was speechless like half the time, almost like Nura didn't expect me to go this way, and I kind of am happy with myself.
No, I was giving the other people like room as well.
Oh yeah.
So I was already doing a lot with the shopping and so on.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of headspace to get into with that. We're actually going to go be eco-terrorists. Cool.
Well, the thing is also my character was just all in as soon as it was clear that they could fuck with Proteus even a little bit, because that's the enemy. And they are not going to, like, I did not write down how much money we get, because I did not listen at that moment. I was like, I am not gonna listen as Nora to the money numbers, so I don't even know it out of character, because then I can play my character more, because they do not give a crap. But anyway, let's get back to this. Like, if you also look at like these, like all of these little guys, these little mech guys, you can be. It's really interesting. Like, some of these have all 6 hit points, but 12 evasion. That's really cool. Like, just don't get hit, because if you get hit,
and this is a little guy too, since it's size 1/2.
Yeah, it's basically just a power armor suit. You're just in there with your guy, which is cool.
I like that. And then, like, there's all the license things that you can get as upgrades for these things too. So
this is, I think,
that's the one that can teleport.
A teleporter, right? There was also a stealth one that's also small. Like, you could totally put BattleTech in this, and I'm betting some enterprising person already has been working on that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, even this is Blink Space. Oh, this is the teleporter, right? Blink Space Jump? Whatever. There's a bunch of cool abilities they made up. It's very freeform. What I want to get to is actually, I think the advantages are behind the Mechs.
Page 90.
Really? Oh,
For
good.
talents?
Okay,
Is that what you're looking for?
yeah, talents. I think I must have glossed over them. Here they
Yeah,
are.
there you go. You're
Let's look.
deep into it
If
now.
we look at these, like, oh, ace. What is an ace? While flying, you get the following benefits. You may make all accuracy checks at one advantage. I say advantage is accuracy, but it's whatever. Anytime an attack misses you, you may fly up to 2 spaces in any direction as a reaction. Afterburner. When you boost while flying, you may move an additional 1d6 spaces, but take heat equal to half that amount. What is heat? Well, this has a built-in system for overheating your systems.
Mm-hmm.
And one of your things, I think it's engineering, is about dissipating heat.
Mm-hmm. That's why, like, the engineer is amazing, because the engineer can be like, I'm going to boost the fuck out of my Mac without destroying it.
Mm-hmm. And then supersonic. As a quick action on your turn, you may spin up your thrusters if you end your turn flying. When nominate a character within range equal to your speed and line of sight and gain this reaction. Supersonic. Trigger your target's turn ends. You fly to a space free and adjacent to them. There must be a path to do so, but you can move even if the nominated character is no longer within your movement range or line of sight. This ignores engagement and does not provoke reactions. So basically, wait, any flying you may nominate a character within range, so anyone.
Yep, anyone.
Yeah, so this is the end of your.
Have to be an ally.
The end of your turn. You say, "I want to follow him." And then at the end of his turn, you are next to him. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. Like that's impactful. You can immediately see why it's impactful.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's the other thing. Like, all of these, every single one is not, I take the dodge feat.
Yeah. Also, like the reactions here that you immediately are like concerned is like, I must find this book. The mechs look epic, says Kate. Yeah, the mechs look really cool. Like the art in this is great. Yeah. The art is also
the art's great,
very much its own. And then they have their mobile app or just app. I don't think it's pretty mobile, but you can very easily store your characters in. And to be clear, you could have supersonic just at the start of the game, because you get 3 of these. And then you get to start, and then 1 more per level up. But there's many of these, so you're gonna want to read them all to know what you want.
There, I tossed a link to it in the chat so people can fuck around with it.
Like, there's, if it starts on 90, there's 10, 12 pages, 13 pages of these.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very good.
Yeah.
For like decision space, because usually they fit like 2 of them, or about 2 on a page. Mm-hmm. So you have 26, give or take, special abilities you can have times 3. Mm-hmm. So 78 things you can choose for your character. Yeah, that's a decent number.
Yeah, that's better than the 10 that were in the Mech Warrior book.
Yep. And these are all, this is all kind of active stuff you're doing. And often the Mech Warrior book is like, yeah, you have land. Ooh. No, you're a fucking crack shot. You can do trick shots, and you can stabilize yourself and be better at general shooting, blah blah blah. Like, it's just, this is all very, very, very impactful to your game and to your playstyle. Like, if you're picking drone commander, you're gonna wanna go for a drone mech later on, for example. Mm-hmm. Very obviously, for example. It's just good. It's just like the choice space is better. It's a lot of it is very freeform, out of character stuff, because it's like with the stuff at the start where we are like, I get +2 to some things, right? If I want to make let's say I want to make the snooty pilot, our land person, right?
Our land person.
Let's see if we can make them.
Yeah. We'll do it using stuff that's written in here from that table.
First, you have to pick a background. The background would be, again, these are, we could
Noble.
make up other
10.
backgrounds, but noble. Yeah, 10. Noble. Let's read noble.
Noble.
Man HP, noble. Example triggers, pull rank, lead or inspire. Read a situation, show off. Like, it's already here. But also, noble. A member of your world's aristocracy destined from birth to ascend to power. What authority does this birthright come? A god? An ancestor? An ancient text? A complex an annual rotation? How is power passed down from one generation to the next? Like, make this up, it's your character. Which is cool. Noble status came from somewhere. Are you the first in your family to receive the title of nobility? The last of your house? Or the scion of a well-established line? Are you their heir or just a middle child? What is your relationship with your noble parents? Whatever privileges you might have received at home, you found that Union disregards titles in its armed forces. Your prior status is just background noise, unless you return home or belong to a group that recognizes nobility. How did you take this change? What does this mean? Well, Union is kind of the base guys you are supposed to play as, which is run slightly in the face of us being space pirates, but whatever. Hey, Ava. Thanks for the posture check. I don't know. I took water, but I think I'm good for now. You don't have to follow, obviously, their storyline here, because it doesn't really. That's one downside here. They do have a background story, but it's not explained a lot. There is explanation, but it's not like huge explanation.
Yep.
And it's supposed to be a freeform, so again, kind of take it or leave it with that, whatever. But we already get these triggers here, which we are supposed to be good at. So, see. So accuracy, no. Apply fist to faces, no assault, no blow something up, no charm. Probably charm is not bad.
Yeah, charm's perfect.
Go fix, inventory, investigate, lead or inspire. Lead or inspire probably also not bad. Yep. Maybe one or the other.
Yeah, I was thinking like get a hold of something, lead or inspire. And then either pull rank or show off.
Yeah. Stay cool could also be one.
Oh yeah, stay cool. And now we're suddenly like building like Paul Atreides, the mech pilot.
Yeah, like it took way less time, and now let's look at that pilot. Sure.
And now we kind of want to play him immediately, versus this, where it was like archetypes, plan, mech
so
warrior,
like
other
35 or something. Yeah.
Here's when they were like,
here she is. Meanwhile, this one has like, oh wait, it's not her. It was her. Yeah,
it's her.
Land grant, baronet heir, well equipped, wealth. Okay, cool. Basic university package, battle mech, pilot, MOS, and leadership training. Wow. Bureaucracy, gunnery, piloting, leadership, medtech. So we have bureaucracy, leadership, medtech, protocol, small arms, and strategy. Of one or two each.
Yeah.
Like, it's so boring.
So boring. And it just, like, none of this makes me go, I want to play this character.
Nope.
None of this.
None of this does.
It's funny how when you, like, detach the this is what you can play from the stats for just a second.
Yep.
It makes it so much more playable, because just reading the noble description, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, they don't recognize social status in the same way out here. That's cool.
Yep.
That immediately gives me something to work with.
Yep. That's like the classic one of, I came from like privilege and I'm in the army and they're telling me to crawl through the mud. What do you mean? Oh, I guess immediately an interesting character in a way. And you can, for each of these pre-made archetypes, which again, these are examples, you can make up whatever the fuck you want. Celebrity, easily understood. Like this is a hotshot guy who maybe is out of his depth. Colonist, gritty, down-to-earth bastard who wants to be a survivalist. Criminal, very open field, very self-explanatory. Far field team, those are, I believe, like scout guys for like someone.
Oh yeah. Like those are the people that are like the first people that get to a place to look at the rocks.
Yeah. Hacker, self-explanatory. Mechanic, very self-explanatory. Medic as well. Mercenary, super self-explanatory. Noble, we just did that. NHP specialist, what is that? This is the one we would have to look up, because what is an NHP? NHP stands for non-human person, a name given to uncanny incorporeal parallel space beings, most of which were discovered and developed following the manifestation of monist 1RA through some great since then. NHPs fill the role once occupied by machine minds, AIs. Oh, so an AI specialist. So non-human persons. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. That is distinct from hacker. That's cool. And it's interesting that they are not playable. That also tells you something about the setting. Outlaw, understandable. Penal colonist.
Very
Cool.
understandable.
Yeah, this is basically any normal guy that took a handkerchief from the British. Priest, scientist, soldier, space. Like it is. These are more archetypes you can play than MechWarrior game really wants you to play.
Yeah.
And they are all workable. And they are all background things. Like Starship Pilot, yeah, you can probably RP that outside of combat. It might help you with something. Because some mechs can fucking fly.
This just brought a kind of a gag idea to mind. It's funnier if I use Firefly as the example than if I use the Expanse. Just imagine like Firefly, except all of them are in mechs all the time.
Yes. Oh god.
That would be very funny, but also very fun to roleplay as well.
Yeah. But you just know that Mal would have the most like fucking cowboy mech you could ever have.
Like he'd have like literal cowboy hat on it and everything.
And metal like, cowboy hat. I was just gonna say that, yeah.
Yes. But it also works for something more serious like The Expanse. Like you just imagine like fucking James Holden's mech looks like a Don Quixote or something.
Like honestly, like taking this system 1-to-1, you could do a space game with this. Like you just have to again make up the mech equivalents.
Yeah. It's not hard.
The guns and stuff are probably already made for you.
They are, honestly.
And then you just make up some mechs and abilities, and then you have like the OPA Rockhopper ship versus the Mars Donager class ship, and it kind of makes sense because like in a fight, because like that's kind of like even in Expanse, it's like any ship is a threat to any ship. They just have to hit a torpedo.
Yeah.
And sure, your defenses may be better or worse depending on who you are, but you're still fucking dead if a nuke hits you. So
yeah. And honestly, the low HP of this system fits onto that really well. I just thought about that.
Yeah.
Because any lucky hit, and like the Expanse actual tabletop system takes that into account, but like this is different in that this is a system with HP still.
Yep. Like I'm not saying do the Expanse in this, because the Expanse system is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But I'm just saying, like, if I can easily imagine ways to flange on like my science fiction thing of choice onto this, that's a good sign.
That's a really good sign.
And this still allows you to be like a man in armor just fighting, because it just uses the same rules. A human is just a 6+ grid HP guy. Who has 10 in things and might have a gun, because you are not really supposed to be outside your mech, but you might find yourself outside your mech for some reason. But that's another thing where it's just like a failure kind of the MechWarrior system, where they give you combat rules which are, again, we didn't go through them in detail because they are quite gritty and complex. but which are also very similar to the Mech rules, but they are not for mech combat, they are for personal combat. And then the question very quickly becomes, why are we doing this? Like, just make it so that I can be a guy on your Battletech combat thing, and then it works. But the only rules the Battletech system has for guys is like squads of Marines that you mow down, or that like take cover in a building and shoot a bazooka out of it sometimes, and then get mowed down because they are supposed to be very cheap, like ways to slow down an enemy. Because yes, the Battletech system does have combined arms rules. They just tend to favor battle mechs in it. Also, the initiative in this, by the way, is just take turns. The players choose a guy, choose some acts, then the NPCs act. One of them acts, and so on and so forth, which is cool. Which is honestly the initiative I want for everything. I hate rolling it at this point. I don't like I don't think the randomness of it benefits anyone.
I don't think it benefits anyone either. Like, just bluntly, there have been attempts by people, Mike Murals, to go back in time to like when we had initiative that changed based on what actions you took. No, fuck that. Fuck that too. Fuck it so hard it explodes. Just take turns. It's fine.
I just made an executive decision for Shadowrun.
Yeah.
I don't care about initiative bonus anymore either. I'm just gonna use like passes. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, because like, so reaction in Shadowrun is already a god stat, in that it really determines whether or not you get hit. So it's like, it's not like it's going to be useless.
Yep. And if you have 13 initiative or 14, isn't going to break anyone's balls. Like, it doesn't really matter mostly.
It just doesn't.
Like, it used to in 3rd edition and prior, you used to roll it, and then it would be like, oh, you rolled a 19. That's unfortunate. At 21, you would have had 3 passes because it subtracted 10 from your total.
And then they brought that back in 5e.
And that sucks. I hate it.
I hate it too. Like, that's it's very get smart level. You missed it by 2 inches, kind of brain. I don't know. Thanks.
Yeah. And also, it makes it kind of more tactical and more interesting to be like, okay, which one of you wants to go first? And then the players are like, if Dave should really blow up that mech before it can do anything to us. But also, we have to get like the MacGuffin immediately before the guy runs away with it. So, Dave, you okay taking that hit if that mech gets you? And then Dave's like, yeah, man, go for it. Fuck it. And that's cool, because that's more decision space than it's being like, well, I happen to roll high for the guy for my NPC who's gonna grab the MacGuffin, so it's just gonna happen now, I guess.
Yeah, and also suddenly it's less 4 idiots running around doing things and more 4 people going, well, we have to work together.
Yep, exactly.
There's another factor to this as well. I've been replaying War Tales. They just released their latest really big patch, which added a lot of stuff to the game. And what did they do in that game? Why, they do the same thing. You get to pick which of your guys goes. So, it's so much better. Computer games have taught us something, that it's okay to do this. So
yes, this is, I think, the object lesson, or one of the object lessons of this show, is realism is nice, but don't prioritize realism over player fun and engagement.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a game that's fun and narratively interesting. If, like, let's make an extreme example, right? Let's say my group of player characters ambushes in a group of NPCs in like a D&D game. Technically, one person gets the surprise round, and then everybody does rolls initiative, right? Or maybe everybody gets surprise round. So what can happen is, okay, we take surprise round. Everybody do an attack. Okay, we did it. Initiative time. all enemies roll 20s for initiative and all players roll 2s. So nothing happened. It's just a normal initiative.
Yep.
It's also like why I was never understood why it's bad to have low initiative. Because for many people, actually, like in a situation, like I'm a support guy, for example, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a healer in an RPG. Killian, you missed a lot. You should watch the VOD.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Mech Warrior game, bad. Talking about Lancer now. Like, okay, very simple example. I'm a healer. My whole thing is that I like to heal people. If I roll the highest initiative, what's my option as a player? I can say, can I hold my action to heal later? Who are you gonna heal? I hope Dave gets attacked. And then Dave doesn't get attacked, and so you don't heal anyone that round, and you waste an action. Meanwhile, in this, you're gonna be like, okay, guys, I don't need my action first. I'm gonna heal whoever gets like jumped. So you just go. As we would like someone to defend me, though, place maybe. And then Dave goes first, goes into the thick of things, and does get hit. So then you can be like, okay, Dave, you're still good. Yeah, I'm at over half. Okay, I don't need to heal Dave yet, so you can take your turn. Meanwhile, if it's like, oh, Dave got critted real bad, can I take my turn to heal him right now? It's so much more tactical, it's so much better. And then, yeah, as opposed to again rolling initiative. But we are already tangenting super hard here. Killian, I would argue that MechWarrior never made a good RPG for playing RPG in it, because they always shackle their RPGs to the BattleTech tabletop too much.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that.
And every version I know does that, and the one version that apparently doesn't do it, no one likes. So, meh. But yeah, again, like Lancer, it's a crunchy system. And do we? I need to talk about that guy we found before it's over. So I found the guy. So, and this is like a failing of RPG reviewers on a lot of the time, I find. So, before I do that, because it's a bit of a tangent, Drake, do you have any words that haven't been said yet?
Oh, I could think of some, but now I'm like super curious about what it is you're going to say.
Okay, fine. Okay, so Sundard back like 2 weeks ago, you were talking about wanting to run Lancer maybe, and then someone was like, "Meh, can you sell me your Lancer, Nora? Because I don't really know much about it, and I don't like mechs that much. So what can you sell me on it?" And I was like, "I can try. This is not really, it's been a while since I read it myself, but let's go." And so during that, Sanat also looked up like Lancer reviews on YouTube, and we found a YouTuber who was like, well, this is Lancer, this is a very crunchy game about mech fighting, which means it isn't for me because I like more freeform play, but this is really good if you like tactical game combat and shit, and it's like really amazing, but really not for me again because I don't like the freeform stuff. And I was sitting there the whole time like, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't like the freeform stuff. Have you read character creation? we just talked about it. So it's like, yeah, you choose a background and you choose 4 like things you are good at. And that's so freeform, it's not even funny. What do you mean it's not freeform? And yeah, and then there's like, yeah, most of the book is full of combat rules for the mechs and stuff, and general combat rules and how you're supposed to like how all these items and things work and feats and so on. And then I was like, okay, now open a D&D book and tell me how much of that tells you how to roleplay social stuff. The answer is the skill that says diplomacy, which is like 2 paragraphs. Everything else is combat or spell.
And even then in 5th edition, that's even less. So,
yeah. That reviewer, I will grant them that they did read the book, but they didn't understand that this book And maybe that's it's not so much a failing of Lancer, but it is like a Lancer does know that it's a product for people who have already played TTRPGs before. And that is a subgenre of product that exists now. Because everybody and their grandma, when Lancer came out in 2019, started playing TTRPGs by playing D&D 5th edition. Because it was the game. You might get a minority of people playing maybe Cthulhu first, or maybe playing Warhammer RPG first, or playing a Shadowrun first.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a tiny minority already compared to the D&D crowd. And then everybody who had played D&D enough to be like, I don't want to play it again. Can we play something else? Those people are the target audience for something like Lancer. And Lancer knows this, so they don't put in 50 pages about, okay, how do I read a situation in a social situation, right? It's obviously for that. And the point also is anyone can use any of these skills. They can do it. It's a straight up 50% chance, if they don't get any bonuses or minuses, to do it. Like, I threaten the guy. I don't have any specialty, but I can just roll a d20 and hope to threaten him. Yeah, cool, you did it. Or you didn't do it. Now let's see what happens. It's a completely functional, simple role-playing system that is as deep as D&D, arguably deeper in the skill setting, because, again, it is freeform skills. Because you can grab... you can really easily apply some things in very disparate situations. Like posting the Navy SEAL copy pasta is technically pulling rank on someone. And so, like, yeah, it's a book of rules, because that's what you need. Because this book expects you to have played an RPG before, honestly. Is that a failing in 2023 or 2019 when it was released? I would say no.
No. It's different if we were reviewing a 1986 game.
Yeah. Because these...
But,
yeah. Because, again, this is made for people who are in the hobby already. And this makes it another very parallel game to the MechWarrior game, which is a game for people who are already in the Battletech hobby and would really like to do like a campaign in it that is a bit more tied together. And I think, honestly, those people might actually have gotten their fun out of this. I just don't really know or care to play it myself. Yeah. I think that's all we need to say.
Yeah, honestly. Play Lancer, it's a good game.
Yep.
I think part of also like my lust for Lancer is I actually want to see it in play as a GM and also as a player, but also mainly as GM, because this seems like a game that the mechs are pretty simple. It'd be easy to make new ones. It'd be easy to add. Most mech systems, it's actually kind of hard to do it and keep it balanced. Like, there's a lot of numbers to think about.
Yep.
There's not as many. So.
Yep. I agree 100%. Like the level of buy-in you have to do to make your own mech in this is like, we saw that it's like half a page of stats, if that.
Yeah. If that.
Like, you give it these basic stats, and to know what you should give is more or less very simply look at other mechs that are about the same or for what kind of thing you want to make, and then give it the stats.
Yep.
And then look at give it one or two traits, give it a few mounts, give it a core system, and give it these whatever these are, and then they might have and then on level up give it some more stuff. It's literally 2 pages for mech, or maybe in this case it's 3. Because that mech is stuff.
And once again, they do the 3-tier system where license 1, license 2, license 3.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so easy. And of course, making more talents very easy to do too.
Yeah. And
not hard.
the clue here, of course, being that you are supposed to not have, like, you're ultimately supposed to have like 3 levels in this mech and then 2 levels in the other mech, and then put some systems from this mech into your new mech, and vice versa. And it's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, you can, once you start playing with it and tweaking with it, there are some really good builds, but
Yep.
like, considering all the numbers are small enough, none of it is so broken that the other players won't be like, man, I don't feel like playing anymore.
Yep.
Like, that doesn't happen,
Like-
apparently.
Like, there's just a thing you can imagine where you make a teleporting, flying plane guy with an ace pilot who hangs onto the guy, while another person plays whatever feats give you like durability, and then takes the most durable mech and puts all the durability on there, and they just tank for days. Like, it's just really well done, and you could easily make more. Obviously, yeah, it's not hard. You have to write a few things, and you kind of have to know what's already been written to not make that OP, but that's all.
Like, you can base something all around a tactical cloak. Like, it's that simple sometimes.
Yeah. All of these mechs are based about their core system usually. Like, oh, you are invisible for the rest of the scene. That seems pretty good. It's also a code word. Like, invisible is bolded, so it means you can look up what that means. And then you can see like how much harder you have to hit and stuff. And then you get like, as level 1, flash charges reactive reef. Like, you have to pick one of them, I think. For less. No, you don't. You get both? You get both. But you only get so many systems you can put into a mech, so you have to kind of pick and choose. We're not going to get into how to exactly build, but it's just a good system. So just we are clear. I'm going to scroll through once so that we see all the mechs, because
they're sexy.
Yeah.
And these are not Liefeld mechs, so if you look at their feet actually look good.
This guy can also, I guess, stealth or something. And then you have the weirdo mechs, which are now. I like him. He's on fire. It's not the one I. Goblin and God. This one is like the whatever that is.
Yeah, and I like how the pilot like matches it completely.
Yes. Yep. They have characters in this. Like, this person came out before. They were in before, and they're like, yeah, this would be their mech. It makes sense. Hydra can just turn into like little guys, which is cool. Anticore, many quills on the back. Like, again, this guy has a fucking like singularity in his face. This guy has a singularity generally on his back / butt. Yeah, a butt singularity. That's what we want. Never poop again, because it's just getting sucked up.
And these are your classic
military mechs.
New Order mechs.
Yeah, so I would say this is like classic military URA mechs, kinda.
Yeah, they even have names like Genghis and so on.
Iskander. I like him because he's like waterbending powers and stuff. Napoleon. Ooh.
No, that one looks like dynamite.
Is he short? Yeah, he says 1/2. It makes sense. Okay.
It is 1/2. Yep.
Sanity. Yeah. And what they in the expansion books they do, apparently they also always have some mechs in them, which makes sense. You want more choices in this.
If you have a mech game, you never want to release a book that doesn't have more mechs. You just don't want to do that.
Yeah. You definitely can do it. It's really good, and yeah, a good game. And honestly, again, it's very simple in terms of character building and character making, and then you have very crunchy mech combat rules, but they are in service of a fast resolution game, because unlike Mech Warrior, where like a mech can have like hundreds of armor points which you strip away over time, and it's more of an endurance game. And it is a fun game, to be clear, but this game is supposed to be like, oh, I got hit. That's a problem. Let's hope my armor holds up and stuff. Like, it's nice. Everyone knows and respects Mech like the gang is kind of, everyone fears Mech like the Throngler. Yes, the fucking Throngler. Fortress moves stamina, defense moves mobility. Yeah, you can come up with stuff very easily, Kate. Exactly. Like, you can make a custom. Like, I would allow an experience. Like, I would want to play this once with stock mechs. And then if someone wants to make their own mech, they are very, very welcome to do that. Like, we can look into that. Because you can always compare to existing systems.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that concludes it for today. Drake, any parting words for Lancer or Mech Warrior?
Mech Warrior comes from a different time, where when we say military game with big stompy robot, we are thinking a particular way, and a lot of things have changed since then. Yes, I'll actually cite anime. Oh no. Gundam this and Gundam that and Gundam who married your sister. There's so much out there that is more, that shows you that there is more to it than just robot go stompy. And the more a game gives me robot go stompy, but also at the same time has layer that is interesting, that sounds fun, that sounds different, sounds like we take risk, we get reward, it changes things completely. There's a very harsh mechanicalness to BattleTech.
Yep.
These are the weapons you pick from and you install them in systems and yada, yada, yada. Whereas this appeals to the more creative part of my brain, where you're saying things like, I have I could get this whip chain sword because I invested in, I don't know, whip chain industries.
Yes.
That's important. That's important, because then you're not just juggling a number for optimizing how many PDCs you can pack into 240 tons, you know?
Yes. That's very true.
This is a different brain. This is somebody who wants to do something a little more artsy with it. And ironically, that helps us with the roleplay side of things too.
Yep.
Because I keep thinking, I really want to run this, and you've brought this up, other people have brought this up to me. I tend to do more narrative-focused games, yada, yada. But the thing is it's just like most anime that have mechs in them, there is a lot of narrative stuff in them.
Of course, yeah. Of course.
And it feels like more and more that's what we need more of. We need more of RPGs like this that are just like, yes, we're going to still have those good crunchy rules, but we're going to have them in such a way that you can still do your damn narrative.
Yep. I agree with that as well.
Which is why I've brought it up multiple times. I have problems with Powered by the Apocalypse because it doesn't actually help you tell a story, because the rules are way too Calvin ball, and way too often you just take harm just every time you take a roll. Because, oh yeah, I won, but also the bad guy won. That doesn't really feel satisfying, ever. Whereas this, there's satisfaction. Vampire, there's satisfaction. Even Shadowrun 4th Edition, satisfaction. To a lot of this. To the crunch that's there.
Yes.
And yeah, that's the other thing, is like the buy-in for this mentally is just actually a lot lower than you would expect it to be. It doesn't have to rest on the laurels of 20, 30 years of lore, because it's already good enough that it doesn't need that.
Yep.
And I look forward to more game designers doing this. Like Fabio Ultima is another example of this.
Oh yeah.
Like, they didn't have to. He didn't have to. Or excuse me, they didn't have to. And that's super important, you know?
Yep. And that's well, do you had more?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
And that's like what Killian said. It's not MW or the tabletop. So Mech Warrior Honor the tabletop. Yeah, it's not, because it doesn't have mech roots in it.
Yeah.
Because it expects to buy them. Like, it's also, it's an interesting piece of thing when your book has to be like, well, maybe your players, because they have a heavy mech, shouldn't pick the biggest heavy mech they can. Maybe you have to make them roll a random table to determine if they have a shitty mech instead. Like, because again, in the logic of BattleTech, it's a real military, and there's reasons why you would have 50 tons over 70-ton mech or whatever. And like why there's only limited customization for the mechs usually in MechWarrior, because it is expensive and hard to do. So I would expect these rules maybe to also have covered that, because you're right, MechWarrior is very crunchy and very, I wouldn't say samey, because like the builds you can make are different, but they are all based on shoot weapon on enemy. And maybe move fast while doing so, because otherwise you get hit. It is kind of the one tactic, and it works because it's simple and it's realistic. But it's not conducive to role-playing if that's the only thing you're doing. Because there's not really a functional difference between your Warhammer stalking forward and shooting all its lasers and guns and machine and rifles and whatever the fuck it has, versus your Atlas doing it, or your Dire Wolf or whatever. It is all kind of the same. Meanwhile, if I'm in Lancer and doing like my thing with my support mech, I'm doing a very different job than the person who pilots whatever the heck that one with the that one mech with the weird faces doing. I forgot what it is. This one probably does weird things that aren't very comparable to whatever the support mech is doing. A horrifying basilisk, a visual data pattern that is incredibly harmful to NHP's electronic systems and hard to look at even for humans. So you just project like an abomination nightmare into the world for people to look at. Like, yeah, that's different. Like, this guy is more of a CC guy than a support guy, and that's fine. Like, it's immediately more interesting. In MechWarrior, it's like, oh, I have many long-range missiles. I can like pelt you with them for days if someone spots for me. That's the most interesting build you can make, almost, because there's no infield repairing or doing anything. There's no buffing or debuffing, so to speak. It's just shoot gun good at enemy. And that's fine for a war game, because it's realistic that there's not much more possible, and they wanted that, and that's fine for their setting. But it does make it so that the cookie cutter character you make, it's always going to be the same fucking cookie cutter character, because there isn't even like, it's not like D&D where you have a cookie cutter wizard and a cookie cutter fighter. So it's all cookie cutter mech pilot, and it's all the same because you need 2 skills and that's it. So it needed more. It just needed more to be a good role-playing game. Like, it just did. The setting isn't great for role-playing. It is great for alt history and for wargaming. And that's its base failing almost.
Yeah, it really is.
And writing it into existence in Lancer would be possible, but you would need to gamify it a bit more, making it so that
really would.
That like a scout mech has the ability to befuddle someone by taunting them, and then they can't hit it because it is high evasion and stuff like that. And that then particular assault mech is maybe because it's scary because it has a scary reputation. Like, you can make things up, but you have to, because this is ultimately just it's Shadowrun, but everybody is playing the same kind of guy. Shadowrun would suck if everyone was just Street Sams all the time.
Ugh. I've been in those groups. They're not fun. They just aren't.
Yeah. And that's also like Lancer solves this so well by giving you, like, every mech has such an important different thing. Like, oh, we have to get the MacGuffin. Like, that's your job, Sarah, because you have the teleporting mech. Obviously, you are the one who's gonna go and get the thing because you can fucking teleport. And then you feel good about having the teleport mech because you can actually do that and be cool. Like it's so obviously better. Yeah, but there we go. The Mech frames and lenses incredibly differentiated and specialized. Exactly, yeah. And then that's also the cool thing. And lenses the journey, because you go from having the same mech with slightly different weapons, like in terms of stats, to specializing into every direction. And then, as you level up more, you converge upon having like maybe even more similar skills, because you pick the same stuff from different mechs up and put it into your main mech, or you change mech at some point. But it's not like because it's a heavier mech with 2 more lasers. It's because for like almost for this mission we could use the other one I have license number 3 with, because I have LL3 with the morning cloak, which is a stealth mech, but I could also have an LL3 Swallowtail out, which is clearly a more heavy mech. So maybe in a more combat situation we want the heavy mech, and that's just cool, because nothing says you have to stick with what you have. And yeah, and again, because you end up with having 10 license levels, meaning you have 3 licenses in, like, if you complete 3 mechs, you have even 1 more for another one, and you can pick and choose your abilities from that, and that's just awesome. So no 2 games are going to be the same, because there's how many mechs? 20, 25? That's the choice space is huge. And that's just ultimately why I like this so much.
Yeah, it works really well. As a result, like, my recommendation to people would be maybe don't try to just imitate BattleTech with this. Yep. Maybe don't. Go find your favorite anime and imitate it a little bit.
Yeah. Because ultimately, if you like BattleTech, you can play it.
Yeah.
And if you like to roleplay your pilots outside combat in BattleTech, maybe use a different system for that.
Yeah.
Maybe as soon as mechs come into play, you just play the tabletop game. And then if mechs aren't in play, you can use Fate even. Like, anything is better than whatever the fuck this is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know that Fate is bad. I'm just saying a narrative game is probably very much better than this for the narrative portions of BattleTech than the Mech Warrior RPG. Yeah. Anyway, enough rambling. Drake.
Me.
I have 2 questions for you.
Okay, what's the first question?
Actually, this is now 4 questions, but whatever. Drake, my first question. What is your favorite thing about the Mech Warrior role-playing game?
My favorite thing about the Mech Warrior... My favorite... Wait, what?
Your favorite thing about this game?
My favorite thing.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about this game is the fact that I can roll a useless noble.
Cool. My favorite thing, I have to scroll down because it's the smug guy. The art of the smug guy. We're gonna find him soon. There he is. Look at him. Look at him.
Look at him.
My favorite thing in this game is this guy.
This guy right here.
What is your least favorite thing about this game?
The fact that what that useless noble does inside of her mech is not described at all.
Okay. My least favorite thing is the sameness of the characters again. Like, we already went into deep detail. But it is really just what breaks this game's back. It could have been a middling game.
Yeah, it could have been.
But there's like, because they just tie this anchor to their neck, it only drags them, and it also breaks their neck immediately. And it's just, what is your favorite?
It's just unplayable enough to not even capable of being mid.
Okay, what is your least favorite thing about Lancer?
So my least favorite thing about Lancer is you do have to actually read every single mech in order to figure out what you want. There isn't a mech where there isn't a like choice as soon as you get to license level 1 where you're like, oh yeah, you should go with this. Everybody goes with this to start if they want to be a tank or if they want to do this or that. There isn't really that. And the reason why there isn't really that is that because all of the mechs can do a lot of different things. Because
Yes.
there was one guy on a forum who was saying he played a support mech as a tank in this
Mm,
system.
yeah.
He just took lots of whole and lots of engineering. So there's nothing. It's not obvious.
Yeah. It's also a thing where there's 7, 14, 21, 28 mechs in here. 29 with the Everest, but 12, whatever the starting thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the Blackbeard exactly doing? They don't tell you like what
Mm-hmm.
their basic class is, so to speak. Not in
There
the.
is a section where they do actually.
Well, okay, but okay, where's
Page
that?
117. They literally do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay. Control
I
support
was
designer.
literally looking at that and going,
Oh, okay.
yes, but this is
Yeah,
like this gives me a good general idea, but I'm sure there's a big difference in
like
how Nelson strikes versus a
well.
rally.
So charitably said, if I know I want to be a support type character, I read the support mechs. But you
Yeah.
should still, because you can mix and match everything, you have to kind of read them all to come up with a build.
You really do. You really do.
And also like there isn't that many supports, so maybe what I understand is support isn't it? Yeah, okay, it's not super super delineated, I would say, yeah. My least favorite thing about Lancer is their idea of after every mission you level up.
Yeah.
Because I like long games. And yes, a mission can of course be long. Maybe a mission is defined as the whole leg of a campaign. But it still feels like it just feels fast to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a little too fast because you're doing what, 12 missions, you're done, you know?
Yeah. And that is I assume addressed in the other books that they have, because I did look at like descriptions of those books, and one of them said we have alternate level up mechanics. I was like, oh, interesting. We changed the word mission of deployment. Yeah, but no, the thing is, they leave it very freeform what a mission is.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I have no problem with the first mission being quick, because I want everyone in their special mech, right? The first mission should be like a tutorial section, basically. And I would honestly just kick it out for the next time you play, because everyone should have their cool mech to start, not the same Everest that everybody starts with. And that actually might be the other least favorite thing I have. That is that the Everest is the one you start with, and everybody starts with it. Like, I don't understand, because I suppose they couldn't make a license with 0 section for every mech. That's understandable, but at the same time,
I don't know. I think they could have, and they just have one in each one.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the best way would have been to say, okay, you start with the chassis, but not the abilities, because you're still learning to use them.
Yeah.
And then that's fine or something. I don't know. I just don't like them. But what is your favorite thing about Lancer?
My favorite thing about Lancer, I've got to say, this game is funny because it dovetails into my least favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
The accessibility of this is so high.
Yep.
Like, I say, oh, you have to read all of those, but then at the same time, it's all very readable, though.
Yeah.
Unlike other mech books or mech things, like, this is very readable. This is very digestible. I bet if I sat down and I read through the mech sections like twice, I'd have it all in my head and be able to GM it just fine and pull a mech out of my ass whenever I needed to.
Yep.
But that being said, this goes back to what you said about like systems. Maybe you need another system for when you're the pilot. This game would let you do that if you wanted to, because none of the mech skills that you pick have any bearing on any of your personal attributes.
Yes. I will also believe, doesn't this have like basic like NPC stats?
Yeah.
That you can use?
It does, I'm pretty sure. Backer characters in the back? Let's see here.
Oh, they
Oh,
put stuff in. Oh,
for the
interesting.
backers. Okay, I
Okay.
see. Well, I know
I
there is a list of
remember there being
NPCs somewhere.
stat lists. I think they might be online. Whatever they offer that you ways to quick start that because it's like here's a good stat spread for a level 1 enemy. But my favorite thing is about this is that having now read it like once 2 years ago and now half read it again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not really half read, like looked over it again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have like 10 ideas in my brain for mech pilots, and I don't know which one I would want to do first.
Oh, damn. See, like that's great. I love that.
And like this all because it's so evocative. A lot of it is the art.
Yeah.
Because I also really enjoy the art in this because they did just pay one artist, I think, to do it all.
No, there's so much artists.
Oh, actually, it's
Um,
a lot of different guys. Oh yeah, each of the different manufacturers has different artists, which also works very well.
yeah, it works really good.
Yeah.
They're going to kind of glow up it a bit with the second run of this because
Ooh.
Dark Horse Comics is going to like
I don't see a
add
reason.
more.
Like, okay, I hope they keep the artist though because I like the style of this so much. It's very
Oh yeah,
the colorfulness is nice,
very
and so
evocative. It's
is
very evocative.
yeah, it is super evocative. Okay, and now actually, it was 3 questions. Oh, wait, it's 5 questions now because
Five
this is the fifth
questions.
questions. The fifth question and last question is, Drake, what are we doing in 2 weeks for spooky season tabletop
What's
talk?
spooky?
Yeah.
I think it's time we finally did it. We've been promising it over and over again.
Have we?
Um,
I'm curious now.
yeah, we have been promising it over and over again. We're
Okay.
gonna review the Men in Black. No, I'm just kidding. Um, that's gonna be a meme for a while. Um, we should really do the latest edition of Call of Cthulhu and
It's
talk
fair.
about
Mm-hmm.
how it's good, how it's bad, how it would work for you, how it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because like off and on, it's the number 2 game on Roll20.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason for that, and we'll get
Yep.
into those reasons.
There's
So,
a reason for that, and there's also a reason I don't like Cthulhu, but we'll come to all that.
yeah,
How will I
same here.
Yeah.
But you know,
Uh,
I'm of the mind of like once again, like I mainly did Vampire. You did a lot of Shadowrun, and I know there's somebody out there who did a lot of Call of Cthulhu for like 20 years. So, and that's for that person. So,
yeah, for sure. And how will I compliment Sundert? Well, Sundert, you are lovely. And also a tardy mod because these should be off.
yeah.
No, that's not a compliment though. Sundert, I think you are just really, really good at thinking through things. Like if you come at me with something, you usually already did a lot of the work of like developing it and are asking me for a thing that's pretty deep in the decision space, and then I have to ask questions, and it's a whole thing. But I like that because it shows how smart you are. You are very smart and good. The end. Yeah. I turned everything off an hour ago. So you turned it back on to get the compliment. So Lancer player, both Lancer and McVoy suck and I love. Get off Celts. Since I never played Lancer, I don't know. I would love to play Lancer. I would play it in a heartbeat.
Right.
Okay. That's it from us. That is also it from me for the week. And I believe from you as well, right? We
Oh
are
yeah,
going
that's
to
it for the week.
reconvene on Monday for
Monday.
Youngblood.
Blood.
Now I wonder who I will rate. God, there's still so many people streaming Baldur's Gate 3.
I know. I'm like trying to avoid those streams. And not because I don't like it, it's just because I'm like, but I want to give some attention to the games people don't normally play.
Okay, this person is going to be right back mode, so we will not rate that. Kate, I would not say no, but I don't know when though. That's always the issue. Like, yeah, it's the short of it. God, who am I reading? Okay. This is Baldur's Gate 3 though. Meh.
Yep.
It's actually proving difficult. Maybe if I will see new options. Yeah, folks, thank you for hanging out and for being awesome as always and indulging our show here. Who is this?
Just start looking for stuff.
It's very disturbing. Fuck it. Brimstone Angel gets it. Who is playing Deep Rock Galactic, so that's a raid for Sundet into Dwarf's
Rock and
Tents.
Stone!
Did we do it? We did do it. Okay.
You do it.
Wah.
Wah.
Wah, 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 wah.
Wah.
Okay, folks. See you on Monday, I guess. Good night, goodbye. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.